We're here for the Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise race. You've already met the runners in the interview. For commentary, I am Demarine, and I will be joined by Rivers McCown and two other gentlemen who will be introducing themselves in just a moment. But Rivers, if you just want to go over what we're going to be seeing tonight.
Terrific. Thank you, Dem. So V1 is the main change to the flags from the GDQ flag set. The main thing that this does is that the Legend Sword and Adamant get you the crystal, where used to in regular V it would just get you the Excalibur. So our runners will be needing 2 go mode items, so expect a long race.
Yep, they should give us an excellent run, though. All 4 of these runners are fantastic runners, and we want to get this show on the road, of course. We're not the show, they are.
Nope.
So let's go ahead and let's move it over to them as we'll get started in just a moment.
Know what that means for our runners.
So Rydia is the, I guess, summoner black mage of the Final Fantasy IV. She starts off with actually nothing in this randomizer, and she'll gain some basic black level and a couple basic white magic abilities as a child Rydia. What our runners are going to be hoping for is a couple of the powerful summons that will be put into the pool and allow them to do some decent damage to the bosses.
All right.
And looks like we're ready to go. So we will get a countdown. We will start in 5, 4,
3, 2, 1, go! So we're going to take off right away, and we're going to see who our runners are going to get with Rydia this evening. All right, we've got Kain and a starting Excalibur. All right, well, we're getting off to a flying start in terms of gear here for sure.
Most certainly. And our runners are probably very happy to be getting Kain with Rydia. He can equip a vast variety of weapons and can dish out a lot of damage.
Right, in early game, DPS is kind of the king as far as what you're going to try to do and how risky you're willing to play it. So all of our runners, if they get some good Kain weaponry, they should be well set to maybe break the original cycle of the game.
Yep, speaking of breaking the original cycle, it looks like we've got 3 runners touching down in Baron immediately to loot Baron in and see what character we have accessible there. SwimmyLionni has split off for Damsian to get us started.
I knew I liked Swimmy.
The other thing the runners are largely going to be looking for in addition to gear is, on this particular flag set, there are a lot of items that were included in the Japanese release of the game that are available to them that have a high amount of utility, and so they will be looking for those either in the chests or in the various item shops located throughout the game as well.
Absolutely. Swimmy's play into Damsian has paid off a little bit. There was an Ogre Axe there, which is, when we talk about the list of weapons that Kain can equip, that's on it. So, that's a pretty solid mid-game weapon.
I believe there was also a Charm Staff in there for Rydia, so this is a pretty nice start for Swimmy. Shouldn't be too hurting for damage too bad here.
No, and in this item shop we see Hourglass 2s, which is one of those Japanese-only items that allows our runners to cast the Stop spell on all the enemies if they're susceptible to it.
Yeah, wait, bosses aren't susceptible to stop spells, though.
There actually are a couple bosses that do not have the boss bit. So our runners will be using those on a few of those, non-main bosses.
The difference between the various hourglasses is the duration with which the stop lasts. So the higher the number, the longer it lasts. The hourglass 1s will last you a few turns, and in most cases will be more than enough to get you what you need. Hourglass 3s, you can go and grab a sandwich and come back before that will wear off, usually.
So Swimmy's going to give us our first character here. It's Rosa and the Evil Wall Guarding. And Rosa is one of the best characters in this game. Demarine, tell me why.
So Rosa's a white mage, but she is the preferred endgame white mage as she scales up much more quickly than Porum, the other white mage that is generally available to our runners. It takes a little bit longer for her to get her mid-game spells in order, but like Cure 3 will come much faster, Cure 4 will come much faster. 48 is the only level that she needs to actually have her full complement of spells on hand.
Exactly. But in order to get Rosa, we're going to have to get through this Evil Wall boss, and right now it is doing a decent amount of damage to Swimmy's party members. 2 of them already down, and Kain trying to jump away from that damage, but not looking like he's able to.
Takes a fall. Evil Wall, no joke when you do not back row your characters.
Yeah, back row is very important because it decreases the damage that you take. It also decreases the damage that you deal out, except for some exceptions that we'll talk about. But we'll get to that later.
Penguinator using the new Hobbs flag, which gives you 1 summon for Rydia. It looks like he found Indra. Indra is the mid-game lightning summon, so should give her some additional utility early on.
Yep, Invenerable's done the same, and reasonably they did it because the character in the Baron Inn was another green-haired girl. But Zyrak, are they going to be allowed to have 2 Rydias today?
That depends. Do we have the dupe flag on for this race?
We sure do.
We sure do. Okay, so that means that we can have multiple versions of the exact same character. So if we come across 5 Rydias and that's what you want to run with, then you can.
Yep, we won't be coming across 5 Rydias today, but yeah, that was a change that was made after the GDQ run, so just a new flag as, new features are coming out all the time for the randomizer, which is pretty fantastic.
I did notice earlier, too, that I believe it was Invenerable who ducked his head into the Damson waterway, looking at to check the boss there. One of the flags that is set here is that the Mist Dragon actually potentially guards an additional key item in the Village of Mist. So a few of the out-of-the-way boss spots that don't generally guard key items can potentially hold progression if Mist Dragon happens to be there.
Yep. Penguinator is the second runner taking on the Evil Wall here, and Invenerable, wow, they're in lockstep right now. With their characters fully back rowed, Rosa, there was a set of ice arrows on the mountain that they grabbed, so they're putting those on Rosa in combat and burning their resources to try and get through this as quickly as possible, because everyone's real excited to get Rosa.
Meanwhile, Swimmy going down the airline cave finds a moon boss. All of them have that spotlight shine, and then does Plague. Plague does not actually fight you per se, but he puts a countdown spell on you, and if that count goes down to 0, you will die. Kobaki, how would you manipulate around that?
With this Bodhi, I'd probably have Rydia equip that whip he just used. Although I don't know if he's found life potions yet, so at this point it's a little difficult. He can try with that ogre axe, look like deal the 1,000 damage this spot has. So I don't think he's going to have that much trouble. But in higher level spots, you can definitely use some different strategies with the items you have to kind of manipulate him to count again.
Looking tight, looking tight.
Ooh. Got him.
Second jump does it, 482, doesn't get trolled by the low hit rate
Gets
on
the pass.
there. Ooh. All right, well, that is part of Go mode. Zarek, what are we going to do with that pass at the end of this game?
So in the vanilla game, the pass was just sort of like an Easter egg additional item thing that got you access to a dance show in the village of Troya. However, in Free Enterprise, it's been reprogrammed to actually give you instant access to Zeromus without needing to go to the moon and walk through the lunar subterranean. So if the crystal is readily available somewhere, that could potentially lead to a much quicker finish.
Yeah, absolutely. And since it's an antlion cave, it's highly likely all 4 of our runners will be down there at some point because it is a very straightforward early spot. So expect to see all 4 of our runners not having to run through the entirety of the lunar subterranean this afternoon.
Yeah. Couch 23 is not running, right? So they're all going there.
So ScratchDragon is our first to, our second to take down, maybe our third. Number three to take out the Evil Wall here and get Rosa. And looks like Swimmy's going to be the first one into Fabul, making some purchases, maybe?
Yeah, he's looking in the shop. He's found the life potions. There are also star veils in the shop, which will cast wall on the person who uses it. They're very useful for strategies for a couple bosses within the run. And then there was also a boss with a key item check here that it looks like he's running up to do.
Yep, so he's a little bit ahead in terms of kind of his exploration play here, but he is the only runner who does not have Rosa yet. He will certainly go back for her. There's no question about that, though.
Yeah, Fabul is an interesting play early on in the seeds, just because there's a couple of potential other key items related to Yang's wife, Sheila. So some runners do try to put Fabul off in the hopes of only being able to go to Fabul once. So whether or not that winds up being a requirement or a good play is something we'll be able to see as the seed unfolds.
Yeah, as an interesting note on Penguinator's screen, he actually got a jump off on Kane right away, and he missed the first count. So he did get a second count to kind of prolong his battle to make it a little safer.
Ended up being really straightforward here. Again, with Rosa with the bow, Plague actually takes additional damage from bows. It's actually a floating enemy, so with Rosa, the DPS is just so much higher right now. Swimmy has found the Officer and Soldier pack. This is a stoppable pack, but Rivers, he didn't use an Hourglass. Why?
He probably wants to get the Officer to run away here. That would actually save time compared to just beating him normally. So with kind of low DPS, low levels, it's definitely a nice play to just let the officer run away.
Yeah, but he is resurrecting that Udia. She starts at level 1, is still that level, and probably wants a bit of experience on her.
Yeah. She will get a lot of levels in a hurry if she actually survives the fight, which does rely on, her living.
Yeah, 30 hit points is not exactly great. Even in the back row, she can't take a solid hit, so she's not going to get any experience about that. But we're going to find out what item we get here today.
We also do see ScratchDragon using that hourglass and some of the coffins he found to take out the officer and all of these soldiers now quickly.
Got the package. So the package lets you go to this village and get a character. Now, Zyrak, unlike some of the other early character locations, package actually can give you the most powerful characters of the game, correct?
That's right, yeah. So Edge and Fusoya are gated behind at least one key item check, which obviously the package counts. Those characters are immensely strong because Edge starts at a very high level and does a large amount of physical damage. And while you do need to kill bosses to unload his skill set, Fusoya can learn essentially every spell in the game and is incredibly powerful as well.
Looks like Kabai saw something really interesting. What's going on over there?
So yeah, so after Swimmy beat this boss of a ghoul, he did a bit of looting, and he found himself a heroine robe. This is a very powerful armor that only the female characters can use that boosts their physical stats. So if he chooses to use either Iridia or Rosa as a physical character, they can be very potent at this point in the game.
Yeah, but I will be very sad because white mages are for healing, not for fighting.
It's also really good as far as taking out that Baron spot because you get so much more defense and speed. So that might push our runners to do that a little bit earlier than maybe Ordeals.
Although it looks like he's going to take it straight back into the Evil Wall fight and pick up his Rosa here.
So we're doing a little bit of retracing of our steps right now. So Natara, do we have any donations right now?
Oh, do we? And we even have some relevant ones. We have $100 from Grimora, who reminds us that friends remember to berserk Rydia. We have a $100 donation from Maggie the Cat saying Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise hype. So glad to see such an amazing turnout of the Free Enterprise community at RPG Limit Break, supporting such an amazing cause. Good luck to all the runners. Here's to Miss Dragon required behind Kaipo Inn. That's just rude, Maggie.
I mean, speaking of Kaipo Inn, ScratchDragon did sneak his way in there to check the character out from the package, and it was Old Man Tella. That was probably the fastest reset I've seen in a Free Enterprise race in quite some time.
I've seen faster.
Tella is definitely one of those characters that early on isn't that useful, and if you don't do ordeals, he doesn't even get his full spell set, so he's not somebody runners are willing to go through a whole cutscene and boss fight for to get.
Yeah, if any of our other runners happen to head in there, you'll probably see straight resets all around.
All right, so we've got a little bit of shopping here. Penguinator dumping some inventory. It looks likely that Swimmy is about to do the same in the town of Silvera here. So we'll get our first look at the item shop in this town. Runners are going to do a little bit of shopping and prep, as items, again, are really good for being able to soften up bosses or making sure that you have the supplies that you need to progress forward. So Swimmy finds some Ether 2s, grabs a couple. They restore anywhere between 96 and 128 mana, so very useful item to have on hand.
So we'll probably get to see here if Swimmy is just going to take the straight shot south into Ordeals, and it looks like he is. So it's one of the two major progression spots left, excuse me. This one can be a little bit hit or miss. It's a long time investment. There's 3 bosses and a cutscene you have to be able to get through to get to the key item. It does come with a bunch of other benefits, though, if you happen to get through it.
Yeah, like the already aforementioned Tella would have a full complement of spells, which includes Weak, which is one of those spells that's really interesting at the end game. But also would allow that if we find Cecil at some point in time, we wouldn't get Dark Knight Cecil, we would get Paladin Cecil, and our very first item in this game was the Excalibur. Rivers, Excalibur seems pretty good, right?
Excalibur is the second best sword that Cecil can use, correct? So it has the high stats, it has an added bonus to undead enemies. So while Ordeals is normally kind of a sloggy play, and looks like it might be getting even sloggier here with the Fabul Gauntlet.
Oh.
Definitely something that Excalibur will incentivize.
Yeah, and Swimmy though, it looks like he's gonna make the aggressive play here. This is a gamble, and the gamble intensifies with the football gauntlet. Gonna take up some time here. So we'll see.
Every free enterprise runner hates running into this gauntlet because it takes forever to beat, even if it's in an easy spot.
Definitely, and yeah, other runners are. We're gonna get a first check at the Mysidia shop here from Penguinator, see if he finds anything useful.
Yep, Invenerable is gonna check the package location here. But first gonna check the Mist Dragon boss. Still seeking out the Mist Dragon, possibly trying to, catch the other runners off guard with a early Mist Dragon pickoff that other runners may miss. Finds Water Hag, which will be really interesting, because that's the other blue-cloaked figure, so if he goes to Ordeals, he'll know exactly what he's up against. Maybe lead to a faster reset.
Looks like Invenerable's going to be... Oh, okay. I thought he was going to be a man of the people that show us the package sprite, but apparently not.
Nope.
And ScratchDragon makes the standard play here. That would be Dark Elf right now, so he and Penguinator have decided to double up on the Baron in here.
And this first fight is generally not bombing the Baron in. It has, 350 HP or so.
Yeah, it splits the vanilla guard HP from the base game. But it's the second boss that's a real problem, where Yang spot normally has 4,000 HP, and this is kind of one of the big early barriers of these speedruns.
The only advantage of this spot is it's fairly slow, so if it's a single target boss, life potions could just get you through if you've got good speed. We find Myelin Z in this spot. What's so special about this particular boss that our runners are going to take advantage of? Not a lot, I guess. It's just that, interestingly enough, actually, this is one of those facts that people don't know, is that Myelin Z is also a flying boss. He's immune to Quake, and he's going to take quad damage from Rosa arrows as well. So you'll see Rosa just firing away for over 1,000 damage a shot right now. Other DPS not required. Rydia's dead. We don't care right now.
Yeah, you don't get experience from the fight anyway, so it's often easier for our runners to kind of just route and kill it as quick as possible.
Right, so...
We got the Twin Harp. Zyrak, tell us about that Twin Harp.
So the Twin Harp leads to a check in Cave Magnus, and there is potentially a key item behind that boss spot. That boss spot can be a little bit tricky because it has a ton of magic defense, which unfortunately for our party though we're not really heavy on magic damage, so that should be fine. But of course the part that everybody wants to know and everybody wants to hear is that Free Enterprise actually randomizes the music that Edward plays from his harp when it goes up there, and your donations pick the song that we're going to get to hear today.
So we will get to see who gets to be the chosen one for showing us the Twin Harp music first.
Swimmy's gamble just continues to pay off here, clearly. And by pay off, I mean that's Asura, one of the more annoying bosses, but she doesn't do anything but heal.
I have seen some mute arrows on somebody in this seat, but I don't know if it was Swimmy.
Yep.
That would do quad damage to Asura, make it a lot easier to fight. I don't know if he's going to try to life lock her now. Yeah, I guess he is.
Yeah, it looks like he's tried. So when you attack Ashura, the head will spin, and you can get it to constantly cast the same thing over and over again. Looks like that's the strategy Swimmy's going for here.
Yep, the timing is usually in a spot like this. If you place your command while she's flashing to cast Life 1, she should stay in Life 1 constantly, so not a lot of actions. It's a little bit slow, but it is definitely safe. She only counterattacks when you hit her, so if you need to heal up, you can patch up the same way, and you can patch up in between. You have to be a little bit fast though. And
ScratchDragon's making the play for the fans right away, heading straight to Cave Magnus. So we will get that Twin Harp song for you in about a minute or so.
He also finds himself a Dwarf Axe, which is a very nice weapon.
Finds two of them.
Its attack is mediocre, but the best thing is it is a ranged weapon. This can be used to back row glitch Kane so that he can hit things in the back row or from the back row for full damage. It also has a -5 agility, which can be abused for later manipulations as well.
Yeah. The way the Dwarf Axe works is that anytime a character in this game gets the back row bit on them, it is permanent. That was an oversight by the developers. So all you have to do is equip it once, and then you can put the most powerful weapon on and continue to attack from the back row at full damage.
Yep. It looks like Swimmy's lock goes pretty smoothly at this point right now. It's going to take a little bit of time, but he is definitely working his way down. Invenerable, who did not take a safety save before rushing up here, is going to see that blue cloak figure, and he knows what he's up against right now. So
That look of resignation.
Although it looks like Penguinator is going to be soon to join them.
But Swimmy takes it down. Ashura with the life lock.
beautifully executed, absolute high-level play here, knowing every strategy possible. Doesn't need to burn Star Veils for that. Just decides to go on in, and looks like ScratchDragon found a very interesting axe just right there. That was a rune axe.
Yeah, if he actually makes the plate ordeals, he will get a big bonus from that against Ashura, who is another mage, and that is another mage-type weapon. So he'll do quad damage every time he swings that rune axe.
It also hits really hard. It's one of the strongest weapons that you can find in this particular flag set in the treasure chest.
Now let's all be quiet. Give the people what they paid for.
So what you mean is more donations, right?
Not right now, Natara. Not right now.
Natara will throw you out of this marathon.
So your donations paid for Ramza's theme from Final Fantasy Tactics. An already excellent heart piece that just more excellent by the randomizer for sure. But just to catch everybody up, the item at the top of Mount Ordeals that everybody had to wade through all these annoying bosses for ended up being the Magma Key. The crowd is groaning. Why is the crowd groaning, Cyrac?
I'm assuming our crowd wanted our runners to suffer a little bit more. So there's two ways to enter the underworld, which is generally going to be the first place you're looking to go after you start looting out the overworld. There's the one way is through the Magma Key, which is a very simple drop the key in the well and head down the hole and head down there. The other way is through using the hook on the hovercraft to get through Cave Eblin, which is considerably harder because although it does net you a character that could be a strong character, there are two very high level, or at least for this point in the game anyway, two very high level boss spots that you have to get through. And so if there's a tough draw at either the Vanilla Rubicante or the Vanilla Royals fight, then you can be in for a really tough time.
This has been a really rough seed for Rydia, I want to point out. We've had a lot of physical bosses so far. She doesn't have much HP to start with. And even though you see ScratchDragon triumphing in our Twin Heart battle, both of his Rydias did perish in the attempt.
Yeah, but he does succeed, and he will get himself a key item here, hopefully, in the cave.
And he adds on the Earth Crystal.
Demarin, is this even randomized?
Gonna let the crowd finish clapping before we just remind everybody that we did just hear completely randomized music, right? We had the Magma Key from the top of Ordeals, right? We have two Rydias in our party. Nah, it's not really randomized. It's fine.
It's fine.
Demarin, is this conversation even randomized?
So pretty predictably, I think Scratch is going to take that Earth Crystal right up to Zot right now. I think you're right there anyway in terms of routing. This is the way you draw it up. And as Rivers pointed out, this has been a really tough seed for these Rydias in order to be able to get anything going whatsoever. There's two potential characters up at the top of Zot, so being able to trade at least one of your Rydias out for somebody a lot more useful would be really nice.
Right. On the flip side of the screen, Penguinator did bail out of Mount Ordeals, so does not know what's up there. Guess saw the gauntlet and took off for greener pastures, while Invenerable threw a pair of silk webs to start, or excuse me, a pair of star veils to start off this fight. So putting the reflect status on Asura, so he's not going to worry about life locking or anything like that. You're going to see that when she casts a spell, it's going to bounce right off. It's going to heal his own party, so that you can do DPS fairly much with impunity unless for some reason it wears off.
Now, one great thing about getting the Earth Crystal early is that you can loot the entire treasury down here. just as you could in the vanilla game once you actually beat Dark Elf. So ScratchDragon's going to go on a little looting spree here before he actually winds up trying to do the tower.
Yeah, it is one of those balancing points, though, is that opening treasure chests takes time. You have to come down, you have to go around to the side of the building, you have to go into the basement, you have to go into 2 sets of stairs, you have to talk to an NPC. You can see that this is going to take a minute here. So looting is one of those things that you have to balance out in any seed of free enterprise. How many chests do you really want to open?
This many. You want this many chests.
Do you want all those chests?
Do you want all 18 of them? That seems like a lot of time.
Although he's going to find himself a lot of equipment, even stuff he doesn't need is going to be turned into money that he can turn into even better items, so...
Now, Zarek, this is the first time we've seen this exchange screen. Do you want to explain why the inventory is the true boss of Free Enterprise?
Right, so between keeping equipment for the characters that you have and for the characters who you are hoping to eventually get, between that and hoarding all your key items, you only have so much inventory space. So you are going to have to sometimes make tough decisions in terms of what you want to keep and what you need to get rid of. And while you would like to be able to sell it, I mean, in spots like this, that's not always an option. And you just have to decide to just leave stuff on the floor.
Yeah, and he's not even going to the Tower of Zot unless he's just going out to save first. He wanted to loot and scoot, it looks like, as he's bailing out. Without hopping to Zot, or he's doubling back in. Okay, it was looting and saving to save the time in case there are some difficult bosses on top. Penguinator going to add on that Earth Crystal, Magma Key for Invenerable, and Swimmy is taking on Mylan in the Baron Inn right now as our runners start to overlap a little bit again.
Yeah, the only thing we have new right now is ScratchDragon on top of Zot. The Zot bosses can be kind of easy. The first one's pretty slow, but if you happen to run into a toughie, you might see that reset after that save, because it saves a lot of time from the slow death here.
Yeah, since that spot is the Mega Sister spot in the first spot, there's 3 enemies there, and they split their hit points. But, unlike before where the hit points were split between the guards or split between multiple enemies, in this case, multiple enemies' hit points are now piled onto one target. So the boss up here is exceptionally healthy for this point in the game. The second boss is also notorious for having extremely high magic attack stat. So let's just say that those Mega Sisters get moved back to the second spot instead of the first. It could be very bad for our runners who have decided to climb the tower.
I think taking a look at this equipment now that we're seeing Penguinator looted out as well, I think other than the one elixir, I think the best thing we found in here were a couple of Dragon Whips. Dragon Whip is obviously equipable by Rydia and can actually be really helpful both for using her as a physical attacker in general, but more specifically, a lot of the grind options in this game for grinding up to Zeromus involve killing dragons in some form. So the racial weakness there can be really nice.
And funny enough, Bahamut is not classified as a dragon, even though he just popped on screen. That would have been so convenient, but no. Bahamut will count down as he does in the normal game and deliver his Mega Nuke, and your job is either to outrace him on DPS or throw up some walls. And I don't know if ScratchDragon found Star Rails yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It looks like he might just be trying to race him down here. We'll see if he succeeds, but...
Either way, the kind of boss you want to see here for sure. Very slow spot already, and then Bahamut does absolutely nothing until he actually Mega Nukes you.
Yeah, it gives you a couple different safe outs. I mean, if your timing is good and it's very hard to do, you can time to have Kane in the air when the Mega Nuke goes off, which means Kane will take no damage while the rest of your party, bathes in fire.
Now, the Air Crystal is actually a really special look because it's the only place you can go to get 2 characters at the same time. So, and because, as we said earlier, it's a key item lock spot, you can find the 2 more powerful characters in the game here, Fusuya and Edge.
No, it looks like Invenerable is going to be our first person to go down to the underground.
You have better items in the shops and everything, but ScratchDragon is, halfway through the tower. Remember, there's still a second boss here. It's not quite over yet. So, things could still go awry, or you could get another good boss.
Surgical Technician. Okay, Invenerable being the handy hero that we need, and checking our random job dwarf. Every time you play a seed, that dwarf will have a different job.
Also, interestingly enough, that dead dwarf is also one of the Zeromus sprites. There are pushing 400, aren't we?
Yep.
So you can actually sometimes have to fight him at the end of the game because we have those Zeromus sprites.
It's a tough job. Somebody's got to be the Zeromus sprite. We've got Palom here, And it looks like the Mist Dragon is at Dwarf Castle in the Golbez spot. So that should give ScratchDragon some incentive to head there earlier.
Yeah, once he does get his Magma Key, he still has to climb Mount Ordeals. He has not done that. Same with Penguinator. So they'll get that information, and they'll be like, oh, goodness, I really need to get underground now, because that's an extra key item that they know is at Dwarf Castle.
It would be very sad if this happened to be the book.
I was just about to say that, too, yeah. So it looks like we picked up Palom and Yang up here. So Palom is, in most situations, is actually going to be the superior black mage. And Yang is a physical fighter, obviously, but Yang his attack power is based entirely on his strength. His equipment does very little for him. So he tends to be very weak in the early game, but can be very valuable against Zeromus with even if you don't find anything particularly good equipment-wise for him. Palom learns Quake at level 23. Which is an excellent DPS source, especially for a multi-target, which, considering we haven't really found anything good for Auridias yet, is sorely lacking in this party right now.
Yep, so you can see that Penguinator, who did not feel comfortable rushing down Bahamut, threw up 2 Veils on Rosa and Kane, and made sure to reflect the Mega Nuke for a fair bit of damage, and then finished off with an arrow, and a jump would have finished it if that didn't. And we're going to see that second boss at the top of the tower now, and it is Pale Dim, one of the lunar bosses. What does this boss do in particular?
It takes a lot of time, mainly. You don't want to cast a summon on it, ScratchDragon, I promise you. You really don't. Every time you attack Pale Dim, he will slow somebody at random, but it's a counter. It just makes the fight drag on and on. So you really want abilities like aim, like jump, to do the brunt of the damage here.
And this does count as a dragon, so the Dragon Whips will actually do some damage here, even on these low level Ridias.
It looks like Invenerable is about to peep our King, Queen, our Ashura Leviathan spots here. Give a good sense of what will block us all game.
Well done.
So on the one side we have Rubicant, and on the other side we have Rubicant with friends. We're not sure which is which. Invenerable does not want to deal with the Mana Flame. He's out of there.
Yeah, the element spot defaults to Rubicant if we only have one tile to show it off. So.
Yeah. On his way down, Invenerable did open the free key item chest. Sadly, it was only, well, maybe not sadly, but it was only a Protect Ring, so not a key item, but a really good defensive option for accessories.
Now, Inven's going to do the egg grind, one of our kind of most famous things here. Zyrek, tell us why you want to hit an egg.
So the reason why you would want to scramble some eggs is for experience. So those eggs are completely vulnerable to anything that you might have, like stop or instant death. And they're also weak to dragon, which is why the Artemis arrows, I believe, there did a bunch of damage. And they'll also net you 34,000 experience for a single kill.
Yep, you saw the levels going up by 6 and 5, and the Ridias were gaining 11 levels apiece, so getting a little bit catch up there. And ScratchDragon, of course, finished off the Tower of Zot, rearranged his party a little bit. You got a Crystal Ring, actually even slightly better than the Protect Ring that our runners will get from the Land of Summon Monsters. Has one very interesting property, Rivers, over every other piece of equipment in the game in that slot. And what is that?
What were we talking about?
The Crystal Ring. Adds on 5 agility to
a
party member.
You're talking about agility. Okay.
Yeah.
When you're agility manipulating in this game, basically what you're wanting to do, especially in the underground, is put the slowest character possible in the middle. Crystal Ring will help get our, some of our slower characters like our Ridias, our Paloms in this case, plus 5 agility, give them a much better relative agility, which, not to dive too deep into the subject, but basically just means the faster that relative agility number is, the faster your character will go.
Absolutely. So we do have Invenerable. Even though he did not climb the Tower of Zot or get the Earth Crystal, of course, he's headed to Dwarf Castle because he wants to round out his party a little bit. So we're going to get a look at the first boss here while Swimmy runs out of the Cave Magnus here. And
looks like we got a star here.
Another lunar boss showing up to the party here. We're starting to really, whittle down these lunar bosses. We've seen Plague, we've seen Pale Dim, and now we're about to see the Angry Ball Flyber. All right. But with the Heroine Robe in hand, Rosa is fast enough to get up a Star Veil here. And, with quick wits and quick reflexes, and Invenerable's able to get that Star Veil off, and Wyvern just decides to destroy itself for your pleasure.
And now he's going to see this Mist Dragon be very happy he made this play, but it will be a little bit slower with only one party member alive.
Oh! Or will it?
Or will it?
Yeah, so Invenerable getting probably one of the most chased after characters here in Fusoya. Fusoya is a master of both black and white magic, although in this flag set he will learn his abilities 3 at a time, although it looks like he already has Quake, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he climbed Ordeals, which was 3 bosses. He did Baron, 2 more. He has a pile of bosses under his belt, and the Mist Dragon doesn't stand a chance.
While this is happening, it looks like Scratch and Bigrenator have finally realized they need to climb Ordeals. Sadly for Swimmy, he's taking the bait to that Oath Crystal.
Again, got to round out that party while it's a relevant play, but he is going to have to take some time.
And we get one of my favorite sprites here, the ghostly
Yes.
Golbez hand from the Mist Dragon.
All right. And so, we're going to see what item Invenerable gets from Dwarf Castle in a moment. It's going to take just a moment because we're going to see a little bit of talking, but he'll get there just in a moment. And Invenerable adds on the spoon to his arsenal, a weapon that is beloved in the community. With Edward, if you have Edward, we have a flag that lets you equip the spoon to him. But no Edward, so we're not going to worry about that right now. And our runner's going to do a little bit of retracing again. So Natara, now would be a fantastic time for any donations that we've picked up recently.
Oh, I was so hoping you would ask. We have $250 from DJ Conkers. I'm waiting to see what that key item is.
Oh. Well, we know where somebody's going.
The runners get enough attention, so shout outs to all the friendly faces behind them. So thank you so much for that.
So yeah, Invenerable just picked up the Darkness Crystal, which he now has to make the decision: continue doing stuff in the underground or go to the moon.
He's seen a few key items so far. He's sitting on 5 at the moment. The pass doesn't count anymore. So he's decided that seeing 5 items so far, he doesn't want to deal with either of those Rubicons. He's leaving. He's bailing out on us. He's summoning the big whale. He's going up.
Can I fit in a couple more donations during this cutscene?
Yes, please.
Thank you. We have $200 from Ground Flyer saying, as someone who suffers from mental illness, this cause is very near and dear to me. Thanks so much for everyone for putting together this amazing marathon for this incredibly important cause. Free Enterprise hype? Hype! We have $100 from Burfum saying, an RPG marathon? Goodbye, sleep. We have a $100 donation from Anonymous just saying, Spoony Bar. We have $50 from Margaret Ann. Palums and Porums and Dwarf Castles, Passes Tella, Fusuyas on Scala Kitty Classics, Agility Anchors, and Cecil's Curse Rings. These are a few of my favorite things. Thanks for being such a welcoming community and the bestest friendos I could want. Love you all.
Aww.
You got one more, Natara.
Okay, we have $5 from Alexa LaFay. Prince called. He wants his purple cane back.
We saw some silk webs in that shop. It looks like Invenerable's about to give us our moon character. The moon character can also be a Fusoya or an Edge. Although in this case, I think we've already seen Drupridia, so it will not be Fusoya. But
Hey, at this point, it could be Edward.
yeah, we could get that spoon right away.
Yep.
And Invenerable is known to use it. He's not afraid of spoon word just dishing out immense amounts of damage. So we shall see in just a moment.
It's Porum. Demi, you want to talk about Porum?
I love Porum. She's the best. She's the greatest white mage in the after years, and we love her.
Also, she's real bad in this game.
Also, she's real bad in this game.
Yeah. Oh well. Better luck next time, kid.
Yeah. Worth noting, too, I suppose, that I mentioned way at the beginning of the seed, those utility items from the Japanese release of the game. The silk webs that Invenerable bought up there filled that role. They actually cast the maximum amount of slow on whatever you use them on, which is, and slow is a very powerful effect in Final Fantasy IV, so they'll likely see a lot of use.
Yep, just to sort of catch up there. So, with the summary dismissal of Porum, Invenerable just doing a little bit of gear rearranging, gonna set up Fusoi as a black mage, puts a rod instead of a staff on, so increasing the black magic stat instead of the white magic stat. Penguinator and ScratchDragon have both extracted their magma keys from Mount Ordeals and are taking the long walk back down, and they're probably headed straight underground at this point in time because I don't think there's much else for them to do right now.
Yeah, they have no other choice at this point. So, Invenerable, most of our runners will actually wind up going to the bottom of the moon first, Kobahi. Why would you think that was a good play?
Well, the bottom of the moon has a better concentration of bosses, but it also has a spot with better encounters that if they have sirens, they can use to level up. Sirens are another one of those Japanese items that will summon the rare encounter from wherever they are, and there is a double gold dragon fight that can net them 90,000 experience for one fight that can level up their party very quickly.
That's right, and also one of the spots down here, the vanilla D-Lunar spot, has two potential Kia behind it, so that is another incentive to chase down here quicker.
Although it looks like Invenerable does not have sirens, he's opting to turn on encounters and run around in this area, probably looking for... not this fight. So those Warlocks are good, but he's looking for one with more Warlocks and another set of monsters to grind on.
That is an interesting decision.
Yeah, if he goes a little bit deeper, there's other options as well. But he knows the encounter table fairly well, so he might be fishing for silver dragons and gold dragons as well here.
Well, we also know that there are a lot of the easy bosses in the game. The Water Hag is gone. The Fabul Gauntlet is gone. The Kaipo guards are gone.
Baron guards are also
Baron
gone.
guards are gone. Like, he might be thinking that no matter what's down here, he might need a level anyway.
Yeah, and there's the spots down here all vary pretty heavily in strength. They scale from the Wyvern spot, which is fairly weak overall because of course that's where Wyvern normally shows up and Mega Nukes you, to some much tougher spots. But he's found what he's looking for here. He's found the King Ryus, or in retranslations the Gold Dragons, which we've been talking about a little bit. So he's gonna put them on ice with the Hourglass here. He is going to cast Berserk on one of his physical fighters. It looks like it's going to be Rosa with Artemis arrows, I believe we might have found, and he's just going to go to town here.
Yep. While this is happening, Natara, do we have any donations?
Oh boy, we have $10 from Rosa Joanna Farrell saying, "To the person that said that white mages only heal, I am offended. I cast Holy too, We have $10 from Fendis the True. Had to donate during the run. That started my love of randomizers and to show support from those who have taught me so much. Good luck to the runners, and remember, the tiny Fentato believes in you. You can do the thing."
Yep. So, as a really quick update here, so Swimmy did get the veil off in time on Wyvern, and is now dealing with the Mist Dragon with his newly found Fusoya, who's going to probably detonate the Mist Dragon in spectacular fashion. The most spectacular fashion is Fusoya knows Nuke.
Yeah, Nuke is the best offensive spell in this game. It not only has the highest highest damage for a single target spell, it also has 0 casting time cost, so it goes off immediately. It's kind of a linchpin of many Zero Miss fights, and happens to make the game pretty easy.
Yeah. On the flip side of the coin, however, ScratchDragon sadly did not complete our runner's perfect record against the Wyvern, as Wyvern does get 1 win today, taking out ScratchDragon's party, and so he is onward to the Land of Summon Monsters instead.
Pro Wyvern crowd. I like it.
So I don't know if have we actually seen sirens purchasable in a shop as of yet?
No,
I believe we haven't seen them. I know we've run across one random one in a chest, which is what Penguinator just used it, and Invenerable used it earlier. So that's have we checked every shop as well, or are we down to Evelyn Cave holding our sirens?
That very well may be true, yeah.
If there are sirens in the seed to begin with, they're not guaranteed. So our runners may have to work without, one of their favorite tools in the top runner toolbox, so we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, to kind of talk about the importance of the sirens. The siren will summon the most rare encounter in a spot when you use it. Obviously, you saw the egg grind earlier, so that's part of what you can do when you're underground. It also will summon these King Ryus that Invenerable has been, walking around in circles looking for. So it's a pretty key item as far as how quickly our runners can get to levels where they can take out the tough stuff on the moon.
Yep. Now Swimmy is left with the lunar coin toss. He's got the old darkness crystal in hand. So we're going to see how he approaches this as well. We're watching Invenerable continue to grind here as he continues to pick up the encounters that he wants. He's taking a little bit of time, but could pay off. And Penguinator is down here in the land of summon monsters. Penguinator being an old speedrunner, he might have a little bit more confidence in his ability to take down these bosses here, but we'll see what his decision is.
I believe we have a couple of other checks left in the underworld that have not been looked at as well. I don't believe anyone has made the original trick to Yang and obtain Sheila's first item, and we also have a key item sitting at the top of the lower Tower of Babel. That one is going to be runners will be a little bit disincentivized to check because one of the items that we have not found yet is the tower key, which also obtains you a second item in that tower as well. So a lot of the runners may not want to go there without it.
Yeah, ScratchDragon did make the play to go down to get that free first check here, and Penguinator checks the right Rubicant and finds Mylan Z, so he finds the 4 elements all together in one fight, which he probably is pretty happy about. This is probably a little bit safer if you're a physical party because the Rubicon spot will counteract whatever you're doing with the fight command with Fire 2s on Moss, which can really deal a lot of damage to your party.
Looks like Invenerable has probably considered he might have enough levels to probably start checking some of these boss spots up here and see if his moon play is going to reward him soon.
So Penguin is actually trying to do the old No 64 strat for this fight, which is to reflect spells. By reflecting a spell here, you're making it so that the counter cannot go off. Counter being, of course, the change here. So looks like that one did not quite pay off for him.
Yep. It's not easy to pull off. It does require some timing. But of course, ScratchDragon got his hands on the Baron key.
Reset right out of Bagan. Noped that one. Noped that one in a hurry.
Yeah, Bagan is incredibly dangerous. Kabai, what makes Bagan one of the more dangerous bosses out there?
Bagan and some of the other boss spots, he has a really high physical value. So he can take out your characters really quickly if you're not well prepared with good armor and other things.
He also has 2 arms that also have turns, so he's getting 3 physical attacks at you in a row sometimes. And if you can't set up kind of a defensive perimeter in a hurry, that fight is really tough.
Yeah, and 1 Quake might not be enough to take out the arms because Bagan will recover the arms, but that takes time. And if 1 Quake is not going to do the job, or if Fusoya is not fast enough, then Bagan is just going to work his way through your party pretty much in post haste.
So it looks like from that vanilla Sheila route, ScratchDragon picked up the Baron key. Kobahi, tell me about the Baron key and why it's such an important part of this randomizer.
So the Baron key gets you access, obviously, to Baron Castle. It's the couple relatively easy bosses into a free character and a key item check, but it also unlocks the ability to go to the basement afterwards to fight the Odin spot, which is another key item. So there's a lot of opportunity to find what you need, and there's also a decent amount of treasure in here if you are looking for more things. So it could pay off pretty well.
So Zarek, let's talk a little bit about the pace of this fight right now. As you can see, Swimmy has Fusoya while Penguinator does not. What difference is that going to make right now in this fight?
I mean, Fu is just with the high-powered offense that Fu can provide. You should be able to get through this much quicker, which just limits this boss's chances really to hit you all that hard.
And if you were in Swimmy's chat, if you were a subscriber to him, you would have the Drain Spear hype emote.
It's not a good weapon, everybody. It's real bad. It reduces your stats. It has low hit rate. It does everything wrong, but we love it anyway.
Got a Pinktail over here.
Swimmy is highly rewarded for his efforts, and Penguinator, if he can hold out through this, is going to get highly rewarded as well. Kabai, what does the Pinktail do?
So you can turn the Pinktail into an NPC in a cave for the Adamant armor. The Adamant armor being the best armor in the game, has very high defensive stats and boosts all of your other stats. Sadly, right now we can't turn it in because it does require the hook to get to the cave.
So, just really quickly, Erdrick's armor or Adamant armor, which one's the more broken armor in video game history?
Man, that's tough. I'm leaning towards Adamant, but yeah, Erdrick's armor is pretty good as well. But Adamant just completely trivializes a lot of the game. It's still possible to get your butt handed to you by the Dragon Lord in Erdrick's armor still, so...
All right, Penguinator tacking on the Pinktail while we've got Invenerable, who found Antlion down at the lowest boss spot in the game at the Ogopogo spot. Antlion doesn't do terribly much. Antlion attacks. If you attack Antlion, he'll use a counterattack that's magical in nature, so it does differential damage here. But as you can see, Antlion's hungry today, very, very hungry, and is just destroying frontliners again for the second time today.
This is a really rough fight to have 4 mages in, for sure. Especially if you can't keep a blink chain going, and that's kind of what Invenerable strategy has been so far.
Right. A lot of the white magic sort of effect spells don't really do an awful lot. We talked about a couple of the ones that do already in Wall and Slow, but the other 2 big ones are Blink and Berserk. So you can see the power of Blink right here. It causes the next 2 physical attacks on the targeted character to miss. And so for spots like this where you get characters, or bosses, excuse me, like Antlion, that'll just attack you physically constantly, this is going to be a way to get lower level characters through it. Berserk, I'm sure, is something we'll talk about a lot more later when we get to Zeromus, but it vastly increases the physical fighter's DPS.
Yeah, the really interesting here, when you think about Free Enterprise, you think about these seeds that start breaking wide open. You can see all 4 of our runners are taking on 4 different bosses all at the same time. So we've got one runner on the moon, one is going to deal with this Wyvern with the Star Veil. Looks like Swimmy's decided that Rubicon's pretty doable with Fusoya here, and so is going to go for the second boss. And ScratchDragon's going to give us our look at the Barren Castle here. So all of our runners diverging pretty heavily. What are we looking for right now, again, just to make sure that everyone's pretty clear on what's going on?
So in order to complete the seed, you need the crystal to transform Zeromus into his final form. Again, as we mentioned at the start of this race, we are running the V1 flag set, which requires you to get the Legend Sword and the Adamant Rock in order to forge that crystal at Kokol Smithy.
It's a good race when it's 50 minutes in and nobody has either of them.
Yep, while we do have moon access, we have the pass to finish the run, we have underground access to actually forge the crystal. Both items are still eluding us right now, and so there will be work to be done for sure right now.
We see Invenerable trying to raise these Iridias to use them to siphon off their mana for Rosa and Fusoya to keep them going in this fight.
Yeah, Swimmy is showing why Rubicante is actually quickly ascending my list of bosses that I hate to see in higher level spots.
Wow.
But nicely handled by him.
Well done.
Just barely gets off one more nuke hold in the line, and so in his reward will be...
Ooh.
Okay.
So that's 2 more potential key items.
Yep, the pan, of course, will take us back down to Sylph Cave, the best location in Final Fantasy IV, bar none. No one's going to argue with me on this one, right?
No.
Perfect. Thanks, everybody. But we're going to go down and we are going to give Yang a concussion.
That's 2 weapons for Invenerable so far on the moon.
Yep, and that's not a key item. It's a Mazamune, which if we had Edge, is Edge's best weapon in the game. But without Edge, it's just worth a really large pile of money instead of a small pile of money.
Right. Vanilla Mazamune, I believe, as well, right?
Yep.
Still randomized, everybody.
Still randomized.
Sure, whatever you say, Dan.
And of course, out of the Barren Trash Can, we get a nice thing for our Rydia, or Rydias, if you have both of them still. That is the Leviathan Orb. Much like in other Final Fantasy games, it lets you teach Rydia a high-powered summon. Normally, you get it from fighting Leviathan in the Land of Summon Monsters, but here, he's got access to it now. The Sylphs, of course, being their usual tiny trolley selves, decide to hand over a Dragoon Spear, so no key item there for hitting Yang with a pan. And looks like Swimmy will probably take the opportunity to go do the Sheila check here because it's free.
Even though it's not a key item, that Dragoon Spear is a really nice pickup for Kane, though. That's a really nice boost to his overall damage, as well as taking advantage of the dragon weaknesses that I mentioned with the Dragon Whip earlier.
Yeah, it could make grinding very fast. There's also some, if you do find gold dragons, there are some really interesting strats that you can pull off with Kane jumping with a Dragoon Lance that you can't do otherwise, which might be a really showy thing to do, but you can get multiple life potions off in a fight like that.
And Invenerable has found one of the other free fights on the moon, the King-Queen Evelyn fight. In the vanilla game, of course, Edge's parents show up and they kind of are, admitting like, hey, Dr. Luge turned us into monsters. We're sorry. We can't live any longer. And in this one, they do pretty much the same except with less text. So this is a great spot to find on the moon.
Yeah, ScratchDragon is showing us the Odin spot in which he has found the D Lunas, another one of our lunar subterranean bosses. So generally you want to use magic on these, as if you use a physical right away, they will kind of wall themselves and be a little mean.
Yep, and of course, SwimmyLionni at the moment did find the tower key as Sheila's second item. Not terribly interested in the tower, it looks like, as he's going to summon the Lunar Whale. We'll see if he decides to go on up to the moon or not at this point in time. So let's keep an eye on ScratchDragon here, though, as this fight goes on, because there are a couple of different strategies that might get employed here.
Got a rat tail for Invenerable, so now we know that the hook is still hanging out here perilously, and that some of our runners have a free adamant waiting for them, and Invenerable potentially with a key item behind that hook.
Right, ScratchDragon takes a moment to reset, as when you cast summons on the D-Lunars, all the Lunar bosses, interestingly enough, have counters to summons in particular because of the vanilla game, and he finds that the D-Lunars will heal themselves really rapidly when you cast summons on them. Remedy heals for 10% of your maximum hit points, so he's good and done there, and he's going to take that tower key, and he's going to take the long walk on up to the tower.
Well, he's just going up to the top of the tower. He doesn't actually have the tower key in tow.
No, excuse me, that's right. A different runner has the tower key that's in Swimmy's hands at the moment. I apologize.
Long walks sound like a great time for donations.
Yeah, that's very true, Natara. So maybe you can fire it up for us while we see some cutscenes and some walking.
Excellent. We have $25 from Flurry14, reminding everyone, no spoilers in chat or you'll make Natara very angry. We have $50 from Tifa's Revenge, $150. Rydia Hype.
Anti-hype.
Oh.
Rude. $20 from Woo Bear. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there, so good luck to the second, third, fourth, and fifth best players of this game.
But I mean, we're commentating, not playing.
Yeah. I don't get it.
I don't get it.
All of the love to everyone in the community and everyone else involved. We have $10 from Dragon Lord Carter. I know it's tomorrow afternoon, but no money for Eevee's version of Let's Go? That has to be fixed. Oak waited a decade to give us the starter he had ready for us. Let's actually take it.
So we do have a couple of things going on right now here. SwimmyLionni went to a very interesting location, which we'll talk about in a second. First, we do want to see ScratchDragon here at the top of the tower. He has decided to climb up, and he has found...
He has found the pain turtle, and he, to be quite frank, in my experience, this is one of the toughest bosses that can exist in this particular spot. This boss spot does not have very much offensive firepower whatsoever, but it does have a boatload of HP. And Keinatsu's main method of attack is to hit you with a wave that does damage based on his current HP. And this party that Scratch is rocking does not have a ton of life. So if he's not able to keep the water down using lit spells, he's going to be in for a rough time.
Yep, and even though he did get the lightning spell off, because of how the timing works on it, he still catches the wave anyhow. Because when you cast Lit 1, it needs to be cast in a particular time frame, because if the wave is already queued, you're going to catch it. Kabai, you want to talk about what Swimmy's about to do? Because this is really interesting tech here.
Yeah, so it looks like Swimmy has decided of all the shops he's checked and everywhere he's gone, there's no sirens. So what he's done is he's gone into the Giant of Babel, and he's going to look for a grind fight from pretty much the vanilla speedrun. He's going to be looking for a certain battle that will allow him to consistently kill off enemies and then gain a ton of experience using Fusoya to his advantage with the weak spell.
Yeah, it is a really interesting grind in the vanilla game, and you can use this to get, well, we might potentially see millions of experience points if he decides to grind for a while. Yep, Invenerable is taking on this Baigen a second time.
Yeah, so it looks like we're doing some counting here, and it looks like Swimmy is on 9 key items. You get an experience bonus at 10, which doubles the amount of experience you receive. So the choice to go up here and do this at 9 rather than hunt down one more is definitely an interesting one.
Yeah, especially with the tower key in hand, he did have 2 checks, including one very fast check at his disposal. So levels are important, don't get me wrong, but double experience halves the amount of time you spend grinding, which is an incredibly important thing. Yep, Invenerable still trying to work over Baigen here. Baigen still, gets some blinks up. Baigen is still hitting fairly hard here. Quakes are locking down the arms a little bit, but it's taking some time, so hopefully he can hold out and get through this fight. ScratchDragon's taking another shot at the Wave Turtle here, and so we'll see if this is any different than the last try.
So talk a little bit about how the vanilla grind fight works. Every time that somebody's able to attack the Searcher, it'll summon a D-Machine. You want to weak the D-Machine immediately because it's very dangerous, but fire will only really take out I think it's 1/8 of your HP. And so what he's going to do is weak the D-Machine, fight it immediately, then throw a life potion on it. Kobahi, tell me about why you throw a life potion on a dying enemy.
So life potions cast the resurrect ability, but what it does here is as the creature's dying, it'll resurrect it, but it resurrects it and gives it HP based on its vitality stat. And for some reason, all the monsters in Final Fantasy IV have 0 vitality, so they're actually resurrected with 0 HP and die immediately, but he does get the experience for killing it again.
That's right, and in this way, the vanilla speedrun would fight 15 to 18 D-Machines for all the experience it would need in the entire run almost. And Swimmy pretty much trying to do the same thing here.
Yeah, it will take a little bit of time, certainly, but getting 2 D-Machines at a time, we're not sure how many he's going to decide to go through. Just gotten through 4 so far with the double lives, so it's going to take a little bit of time, and it looks like he is ending the fight. He weaks the Searcher and kills it here, so going to take the experience here. Takes up about 900,000 experience points right now. So you can see that the levels are just going to pour in. The spells are going to pour in right now for him.
That's right. He did have 2 very low. He did have 2 very low-level characters coming in this fight, so they are getting an experience bonus of triple. So, as you can see, he is pumping up his Palom and one of his radios.
Right, that may be the reason why he decided to come up here and do this now, as opposed to waiting, because he would have potentially lost the slingshot by killing bosses at other locations.
Yeah. So his hope is he's going to make up time on the moon, and probably because now he's got a party that's definitely got the power to go and take on bosses up there. Didn't have to flip on random encounters.
Bacon down.
Yeah, nice job by Invenerable and Bacon.
Absolutely. Very tough boss in a very tough spot, and he's going to get rewarded with 2 items. This is Invenerable's favorite key item spot in the game, so we'll see if this pays out for him.
It's a white dress. White dress is a very good armor, by the way, not to be scoffed at. And the ninja shirt.
Which is pretty much the exact opposite.
Well, the ninja shirt is a really good armor, but only one person can wear it. It's Edge. We don't have Edge.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we do get Edge now, we have a Masamune, we have a ninja shirt. We'll put a crystal ring on him. He'll be a bolt of lightning at that point. He'll be the fastest thing on Earth.
Yeah, for sure. I think Kobahi and I've been keeping track of it. We've actually found a lot of really decent Edge gear. We've got a couple of at least 1 full moon, ninja sword. So yeah, he would be a very welcome addition if he was to show up anywhere.
But he's not.
Yeah. But he's not.
Yeah, the old Free Enterprise issue of, you want this character really badly, and that character has decided to take a vacation to the back of the Giant of Babel.
Natar, while we wait for Invenerable to climb back down, do you have a few donations?
I absolutely do. I have $50 from Kobahi. Happy to be here commentating this great race. Shoutouts to the Final Fantasy IV FE community. Money to race winners incentive. moment. What you've all been waiting for, I'm sure. We have a $250 donation from Gunarm Dine.
Yeah, Rivers removing his headset for anyone who can't see that.
Gunarm Dine here. It's time for Cecil to Cecil something once and for all. The game's resident green-haired summoner is the best Final Fantasy girl. If you say otherwise, I may have to get rid of ya. Then again, doing so may get me barred from the event, so we'll agree to disagree. With that done, it's time to tell a related story. One so fabulous that both young and old, those with and without a cane, can enjoy it. I met up with a pal of mine after not seeing him for years. He had been working on a means to reach the edge of the universe, despite needing to be at Zeromus to achieve traveling at the speed of light. He said, I sure miss Cydia, but I need help obtaining more research funds. I suggested he learn to cut hair, as doing well at that can make a barbaricia than most. He took our drinks and proceeded to pour them over my head for that one. Good luck to all of ScratchDragon, Penguinator, Inven, and Swimmy. And remember, if you encounter a villain who openly declares, I want Zemus and Squirrel, you're playing the wrong game.
Oh, the room's too small. I could still hear it. Well played, Gunarm.
Speaking of Barbaricia, or of course in the English translation for the original FF US, it's Volvalis. Invenerable has found this boss here and has Kane, but for one of you, why is it really good that he has Kane for this particular fight?
So Val is actually one of the flags that's available in the randomizer is a safety check that disables some of the really disgustingly hard bosses from blocking your passage to the underground, and Volvalis is one of them, and for good reason. When Volvalis is in her tornado form, she gains a ridiculously large amount of magic evasion and regular physical evasion, which can make her extremely difficult to hit. The only way to get her out of that tornado is with a cane jump. So thankfully for Inven, he does have that available to him.
There are certainly ways around it, but Kane is the easiest way by far.
Absolutely. Because she physical attacks you a lot less, there actually are some cases where you actually want to keep her in tornado form and to increase your own survivability. But that does generally slow the fight down quite a bit because you just can't hit her as much or as hard.
Time to give us some swag rocks on Bacon. Nice to see. We did not see that from Invenerable, who I'm not sure if he had the spell or not, but used Quake. Meteor will do much the same thing. It's just a very slow cast, and it does way more damage. Meteor has the highest casting time in the game. I believe it's 10, whereas Nuke is 0 for comparison purposes.
Yeah, we see ScratchDragon continuing to have problems with this Kainazo fight.
Swimmy, however, is not, but of course Invenerable also deciding to take down, and takes down Volvalis pretty easily with Fusoya nukes and the like. And there is our hook.
So Hook is a nice find for Inven because of that rat tail. That is a key item check that he can make that the other runners we have cannot as it currently stands. So that's potentially a big advantage for him.
Inven with a pretty good clear of the moon, and SwimmyLionni takes down the Pain Turtle and gets his hands on, well, Sand Ruby, so not exactly what you'd want to see here. That does let you pick up the character from the Kaipo Inn. Does not take, or excuse me, from the Kaipo bed, Rose's deathbed there. But it doesn't take very long, and it could be Edge.
Could be. Edge would be very, very nice.
Yeah, we do see Invet, he's going to clean up the moon before he actually heads back and turns in that rat tail, heading towards Cave Bahamut. Rivers, want to tell us about Cave Bahamut?
Cave Bahamut is one of the most awkward boss positions to check because it's way in the middle of nowhere. You have to walk a lot to get to it. And then once you get there, the boss there is pretty tough. However, there is always value in Cave Bahamut, so it's definitely the right check.
Right.
That's not Sylph Cave. Sylph Cave's the best location in the game.
No.
Yep, and the Sand Ruby character is Cecil, so that that could add on a Paladin, add on the Excalibur user. We'll see if Swimmy's interested in that or not at this point in time, even though because he's already done his grind.
Inven even finds a pretty free boss here in the dolls, which you can stop the back dolls because they don't have the boss bit.
And Swimmy picking up the Luca key from the tower super cannon key item spot. So
Kobahi, do you remember any recent races where there was value in Sealed Cave?
it seems like every recent race has value in Sealed Cave.
I'm thinking of one that was viewed on a very large scale.
Yeah, at the AGDQ race, the crystal itself was in the sealed cave, and luckily, Rivers and I found it pretty quickly, but
Penguinator retracing Invenerable steps, but Invenerable is going to give us
Value in Cave Bahamut!
Rivers McCown, the happiest man in the building today, by far. As there is the first piece of the puzzle in regards to our two halves of Go mode here. That is the Sword of Legends. Invenerable, however, is done with the moon, so he's out of here. Penguinator retracing Invenerable steps on the moon, and Swimmy's going to give us our look at that Luca key spot right now as he is heading on down. Also, Rivers, I do remember there was a second race, actually on this channel, on the Limit Break channel last year, where there was value down here as well. It was the finals of our Zima Zone League last year. But the value was not in the key item itself. The value was in the boss we found down here. We found the Mist Dragon down here.
Don't remember that one. Interesting.
Yeah, Rivers didn't actually see the Mist Dragon down here because a lot of our runners, if they don't see a key item down here, because you get to see the item first, they'll reset out. And if they don't check the boss and it's the Mist Dragon, they could pay the ultimate prize. But there will be no resetting today.
And that means we're about to see Invin's hook come up dry here, but he does get a Gungnir for his troubles. Not a bad weapon at all.
Yep, so we now know the route to the finish here. The fastest possible route would be to pop up to the moon, go ahead and kill the Bahamut spot, get your hands on that Legend Sword. Don't do anything else. Come on back, go find your tower key, take your tower key over to the tower. Don't go to the top of the tower because that takes too long. Go to the bottom spot, get your Luca key, and then head on down here to find Octoman blocking your path to take out your Adamant.
And one advantage I want to say that Swimmy will have as he gets to the moon is that he's already well leveled, so he doesn't really need to worry about going to the bottom or trying to find the Goldie fight. He can just kill them whenever already he wants. It might incentivize him to take a couple chances.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting choice when he does go up to the moon to see whether or not he decides if he wants to dive down to the bottom of the subterranean or go to Cave Bahamut first. There's arguments for both. There's a much greater item density going right down to the bottom of Lunar Subterranean. But if you do Cave Bahamut first and find that ever hoping for value, then you don't need to go into the Lunar Subterranean at all.
Yep, Swimmy using those nukes to turn Octomam into seafood soup quite quickly, so he's going to get out of here with his Adamant very happily. ScratchDragon has a little bit more luck this time on the turtle. Has the turtle in the shell, so once Kanazo gets to a certain health threshold, he just decides to hide and try to patch himself up. But of course, it also means he's not waving your party goodbye, so that should be quick work there. And we have Quakes on Antline here, going to take advantage of that high magic power to not take counters and start working through. And this time, turtle goes down.
So while we have some retrace steps here, Natara, do you have any donations for us?
Absolutely, I do. I have $430 from... That comes from Beacon Econ saying, on behalf of my colleagues in Los Angeles, I want to thank you for organizing this event annually. Our office holds a collection around the RPG Limit Break every year, led by my colleague, our resident RPG fan, and it gives our team an opportunity as colleagues to do something both fun and charitable together. NAMI is of particular importance to me and my family because of the support the organization has offered over the years to members of my family who struggle with mental illness. Thank you for partnering with NAMI, spreading awareness about mental illness, and providing our team here an opportunity to participate. We have $100 from Dynasty0173. RPGLB always entertains me with all those fun RPG mechanics I knew nothing about when growing up. Final Fantasy IV was my first RPG rando I tried. It is easy to pick up, especially with its awesome community and tons of resources to help new players. Shoutouts to everybody involved in making this and those who made it possible to see this run tonight. We also have a $5 donation from Anonymous saying, love this event and all you folks do, raising money for mental illness.
All right, Invenerable has decided to double back to take on the 2 bosses in the Land of Summon Monsters with his moon-powered party. A lot more levels on his group, so he's pretty confident that he's going to be able to work his way through that pretty easily. Penguinator is another runner who's going to clear the entire moon before going to Cave Bahamut, as he's going to take on the Valvalis here. Again, Kane and party right from the start, so he should be in good shape there. Swimmy is taking on the good Dr. Lugai, which was at... I did not catch which location he was in.
The Beigen spot in Baron Castle.
All right, so he is tracing over the Baron Castle steps here. And ScratchDragon is going to patch up as well, and it looks like he may be deciding to take on the bosses down here as well, or is he going to leave? Is he going to leave the underground here?
He's healing up, so it looks like he's going to head down and figure out which Rubicante is which, so he can fight them. Invenerable, obviously, defeating the first one being the Elements fight, getting his pigtail, and about to fight this Rubicante, which is probably pretty important.
That adamant armor that would come from the pigtail would make this Rubicante fight essentially completely free. So he is opting to attempt to get through it without doing that turn in first to try and save the travel time.
Yeah, but Fusoyanuk is going to do a lot of good work here, so he's going to take this out about the same way everybody else did with very high-powered magic.
Yeah, he should have enough levels to be able to survive the damage output here for sure.
Yeah, Rydia's maybe not because they don't have a ton of armor
Yeah.
and they don't have a ton of health, but you know the important characters, the non-Rydia characters, should be fine.
As usual. So Swimmy's clearing this Baron Castle spot. He might do the Odin spot next. We've already seen that one, I believe. And at this point, is he almost out of items on the overworld and the underworld?
I believe these are the last checks he can do on the basically the Earth side of the game, so he's going to have to head up to the moon pretty soon.
All right, so adding on hook for Penguinator here. Hopefully that doesn't tempt him to go get the adamant armor before he does the Bahamut spot, but you know, stranger gambles have happened certainly. You know, a lot of the time, you know, you get a key item that leads you back to Earth, and you may gamble by leaving something behind. There's strategy to be said for that. Some runners are notorious for skipping spots that they don't like, or just skipping spots because they feel behind. But Penguinator does not feel that way, as he is going to go over to Cave Bahamut next and make the right call. ScratchDragon does not care about any fancy tactics here on the elements, as he is just plowing through it with what looks like a Berserk Cane and some summon monsters here. So just making fairly quick work of it without any sort of fuss or muss here. And the Lunar Dragons have shown up on Swimmy's screen at this point.
So we're still waiting to see somebody connect both sides of the go mode. Tara, might be a good time for some more donations.
Well, thank you. I have $25 from Camelius. What madness is this? A Final Fantasy IV FE run with 4 awesome runners, amazing commentators, and the super donation comment reader of Doom, TM? What a way to relax after a long week. As one who has been in my fight with my mental illnesses for years, finding the speedrunning community, including some that are there, has been an amazing adventure. Personally knowing that there are organizations like NAMI, as well as all of those involved with running, volunteering, and all others involved with making sure that RPG Limit Break is a thing. I am unable to put into words how appreciative and in awe of the beauty of this community's support of just causes. Thank you all. All the loves, the sloth, Camelius, and money goes to winner's choice. We also have $250 from Le French Restream. And they write, "Hi from Le French Restream, last donation from us. As always, amazing marathon, amazing vibes. Keep up this wonderful work. Hooray for Nami, cheers. La bis."
Just as a quick update, it looks like Invenerable did get that pan from Rubicant, so he's going down to the Sylphs, and we know that this is the way to go right now. He's closing in on the ultimate prize here, which would be our crystal, if he can just see this through to the end and get to that Luca key. he will get there for sure. So,
Yeah, and this may be the choice of the race here to see whether or not Swimmy flies to the east or flies to the north from here.
And so Swimmy's going to get a look at the character here, as this is his first time in the Lunar Palace. Penguinator did pick up his Legend Sword, so he is out of here right now. He is on his way home for the moment. Invenerable, of course, trades in for that Adamant Armor because, you know, Adamant Armor not just giving massive defense, but also gives plus 15 to all stats, so turns a character who, you know, has probably good offense to now have, you know, incredible offense on top of everything else. 15 agility in particular means that you're going to take far more turns in these later fights, especially Zeromus, so I'm sure he's very happy to get his hands on that right now.
Yeah, and Penguinator's coming back to turn in those 2 tails he got. With having the Legend Sword, and only need 1 more item.
They're cheering for Porum, everybody. She's great.
Damn, nobody's cheering for Porum.
I'm cheering for Porum in my heart. All right, and so, you know, Penguinator going to add on that Adamant Armor.
So, Swimmy unfortunately taking the turn we were really hoping not to see here, which is to go to the lower moon first. Obviously, you all know where the other one is, but yeah, he doesn't. He sees the key item density higher there and is tempted by those spots.
Not everybody is as big of a riverboat gambler as Kotaku acclaimed speedrunner Rivers McCown over here, who does have a certain love of the Cave Bahamut. So, you know, Swimmy making the mathematically correct play, but as we know.
Right.
Hey. Penguinator has decided to dip into the Ebelon Cave with that hook, and he has found the Siren items for sale. So he can definitely grind in a different fashion than we had Swimmy going to the Giant for.
Yeah, I mean, the tough thing is, though, is that, you know, having already done the moon, his party's already in the, you know, the lower 40s, so won't need a ton of Sirens to kind of fill out the party to the upper 40s to low 50s that most runners will be very comfortable getting a clean Zeromus fight with. But yeah, Invenerable is in the tower. He's not gonna gamble half tower. He's just gonna do the whole thing. So he's gonna climb to the top first and take on Kainatsu. Penguinator coming back underground right now. He's gonna do. He has no tower key, and he's landing in front of the tower. Does it mean is he making the play?
I think he's making the play for keyless tower. Not going to work out for him quite so well, but it's definitely a play.
Yeah, one of the trollier things that the randomizer can throw you is putting the tower key in its vanilla location, which de-incentivizes you from ever going up there, and thus can put it down towards the bottom of your checklist. So considering that the race is still going, he may figure that that's something worth checking out.
Yeah, at this point, I think I understand the play more because he already has 10 key items. So if he happens to find something that isn't really great, then he can just reset out.
Yeah, and the Sand Rubies can probably going to qualify in that category if he does find that up there. So that is likely to be an item that he decides to reset out of. Tough thing right now for ScratchDragon, though, while he's on the right route at this point for at least half of Go Mode. He's our only runner who has not seen the lunar surface at this point in time. He never did Dwarf Castle, interestingly enough.
Yeah, that Fusoya made a big difference for our runners, unfortunately, and when Scratch dipped out of there, when he saw Wyvern the first time, it really put him behind the 8-ball of the other 3.
Yeah, and you know, we talk a lot about where you find your power, and again, the speed of boss kills, and having you know, Fusoya gets nuked without grinding. You know, you're going to do a ton of bosses as part of the regular fight. So.
Yeah, one of the tough things about this randomizer is kind of figuring out when you can take down a boss versus when it might be a little ambitious. And unfortunately for Scratch, he's just tried to make those ambitious plays that haven't paid off for him.
And this one does pay off, though, as he is able to take care of Rubicant right now. So, Mana Flame down. And he's going to get his hands on the pan.
Invenerable and Penguinator following a bit behind, making quick work of these 8 nozzle fights.
Yeah. while Swimmy is dealing with the bosses down on the moon right now and is not having too terribly much problem with the ribbon spot, he's going to get his armor for Rosa, which will make him very happy. And he's going to get his armor for Edge, which of course is going to make him very sad.
Edge could join. You don't know. You don't know. Somebody could do Giant.
I wouldn't bet on it at this point in time.
Yeah, probably not.
But now Invenerable is in the center of the tower here. Yep, and just like you mentioned, Rivers, Penguinator sees that Sand Ruby, and he's got nothing better to do but mash that reset button and pick a different location.
So I want to point out most of the big key item chains in the seed that led to Adamant and Legend were both kind of plays that you wouldn't always make. Rubicant at that Leviathan spot is no joke at all. That's a tough fight, and as well, going to Cave Bahamut is something that is usually rarely seen before going in the moon. So this was a seed that really encouraged gambling.
Yeah, and of course our runners, being 4 very good runners, of course, played this seed fairly straight. Honestly, they went where the probability brought them. So it's sometimes tough to do that. All right, so we are sort of at a little bit of a lull in the action. Invenerable's going to get go mode in a moment. We're going to want to do some more talking, but before we get to that point, Natara, do you have any more donations coming in?
I love hearing the word donations. I have $50 from Blue Green Mikey. Thanks for a wonderful week and for raising awareness. Had to donate during one of my favorite games of all time, especially since games have always helped with my own mental illnesses. NAMI is such a great organization for those of us who need help. We also have $25 from Royal Blue Wizard, saying, this donation is for Porum and Demarine's love of her.
Oh, can't top that. We're good. We're done. We're out.
But you know what could top that?
Swimmy reset out of his train speeder.
Wow, he was not hyped at all. Go on, Natara.
I was going to say something else that's very hyped is that the awesome t-shirts are back for another year, courtesy of the Yeti. That's YETEE, theyeti.com/RPGLB. And the Yeti are donating $4 from each shirt sold to NAMI. So this is a great chance to take a look. Those donations this year are as amazing as always. So definitely take a look at those while they're still available.
Yeah, those shirts this year are fantastic, and I definitely highly recommend checking them out as well. So we're going to keep our eye on Invenerable here as the timer ticks away, as he is. He's on his way right now. ScratchDragon has got that tower key, so he's heading back in. He's going to go ahead and clear up the lower half of the tower, which will make him a happy camper as well, half of one at least. And Swimmy is going to continue sort of working his way through the moon. Penguinator is going to take on this Rubicon spot, so he's on the right track, but he's sort of lagging behind Invenerable a little bit here. So, Natara, if you have 1 or 2 more donations, now would be an excellent time for that.
Well, one thing I do want to talk about is, did you know that we actually have foreign language restreams of this event? Our French restream is at twitch.tv/LeFrenchRestream, as we heard from earlier. Our German restream at twitch.tv/ I'm going to spell it, GERMENCH restream. And our Japanese stream is twitch.tv/Japanese_restream. If those restreams can help you enjoy the marathon, then go check them out and send them some love.
Should be pointed out that with somebody resetting as much as he is, he does have a level, so it's not really a thing where he particularly needs the walk back. It sounds like a minor time savings, but maybe it's something that gives him a little bit of a catch-up edge to come to that.
All right, and
there we go.
I'd say that there's still a little bit more drama here as Invenerable has to work his way through the Octomom spot here, but I don't know, the way that these fights have been going and the levels he's got right now, I'm not sure if there's going to be a ton of drama here at the moment. I think this is going to be more of a, let's get rid of this octopus as fast as we can so we get out of here type moment.
He's already celebrating. He just drank some wine.
What does wine do, Zyrak?
So Bacchus wines grant the imbiber with the Berserk status. I mentioned Berserk really quickly earlier. So Berserk does what it does in most RPGs, where you lose control of the character and they just swing physically on their own accord. However, in Final Fantasy IV, this is a really powerful effect because not only does it increase the wielder's attack power, it also causes their actions to essentially input immediately as soon as their turn comes up rather than needing you to do it manually. And because of the way the agility battle system for Final Fantasy IV works, that vastly increases the amount of turns those characters take and thus vastly increases their DPS.
Yep, so flash of lightning, a spray of spear strikes, and Octomom is no more. And Invenerable is going to head on over and forge himself the crystal.
Now, interestingly enough, the party that Invenerable has is not really set up for a ton of Berserk strats. Kobahi, do you want to talk about what we might be able to see at Zeramis?
So yeah, Invenerable is probably going to forge his crystal and then actually use some of those sirens to level up his party a little. He has a almost completely mage-filled party, so he's going to be going for what we call a reflect strat, most likely, where normally Zeramis, counterattacks any spell used on him, but if you reflect it off of one of your own characters, he will not do this. You can also skip his phase transition where he refills his health.
Right, he has 61,000 health normally, and if you happen to attack him directly, anywhere from 45,000 to 61,000 HP, you will reset his health all the way to full. If you reflect spells, though, you don't hit him directly. Therefore, he never refills, and the fight ends pretty quickly.
Yeah, there's a way to get around a little bit of a programming limitation, with Final Fantasy IV, to give the illusion of the fact that this boss has over 100,000 health, even though realistically, again, 61,000 maximum health.
Right, and that generally using the reflected spells to get past phase transitions works on most or all of the bosses that have phase changes in this game. And we did mention it really briefly when Penguinator was making his first attempts against the Elements bosses, where he was trying to bounce spells to try and skip those phase transitions as well.
Yep. So there's a very special shop here as well in Kokol's shop. It breaks the rules of the flags that we're on, where we have tiered shops essentially, where there's different levels of items in each shop. Kokol's shop breaks that rule.
Just right.
And so Invenerable is able to find the best helmet in the game, the Ribbon Helm, in that shop for purchase.
Right, and the Ribbon Helm helps a ton on magic defense, so looks like Invenerable might even risk something different here, or he might be grinding on the moon. I'm not really sure. He also could just be shopping for relevant items for this fight, or ooh.
So one of the changes that has been made to the game through the cycle is there's a flag called Rescue. So he's going to change party members. He's going to take out Rydia, and he's going to add in Porum. Well,
don't get too excited for Porum, folks. She's going to be in for a rough time.
I'm a little sad because I know what's going to happen next.
So Porum, in this case, is going to be used as an agility anchor. An agility anchor is what we call a character who is very low level, has very low agility to begin with, and obviously is there to just, for lack of a better term, make everybody else look a lot better. And Zeramis, you want Zeramis to have a kind of lower relative agility. You want your characters to be higher. So if you put somebody with a low agility in the middle slot, as we're doing here, that will make Zeramis relatively unchanged from where he would normally be, but make all your other characters much faster. And that kind of is Invenerable strategy here.
So considering that he's not getting that other Rydia up to nuke or anything, I guess it's safe to say that he's going to be going for some kind of hybrid strategy here, using Kain and the mages rather than purely reflecting spells.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's going to do. Obviously, Kain can carry this fight all by himself. It would be a little slower, but it wouldn't be a bad strategy at all.
Yep, but of course, as we are heading up to the moon, we do have to ask the most important question of them all right now. And we all know what that question is in the Free Enterprise community. That's right.
Whose
butt are we going to kick tonight?
Now, because of all of your generous donations, we already know which game the sprite is going to be from. However, we don't know exactly which sprite it's going to be yet, so we'll wait and see when the crystal is used.
Correct. Your generous donations helped us pick Phantom Brave for the Zeramis sprite inspiration. Thank you all very much for all you've donated.
Yep, I saw that there was a really good Phantom Brave run on first day, which was of course run by Kobahi. So he is especially excited to see this particular sprite, I am sure.
So we'll see which one it is after this crystal resolves.
This is the best use of Porum I've ever seen in my life.
I'm so sad, but I knew it had to happen. Porum is going to throw the crystal, and here we go.
An apropos name being cheese as well.
All right.
All right, and it is Sulphurmus, or Sulphur, the final boss of Phantom Brave. Of course, Kabai, I remember how to fight this from your speedrun. We've got to find the 4 crystals that are in the arena. We're going to throw them into the middle of the arena. And then we're going to use Morona to AoE them down. And once they're AoE'd down, then Zeromus won't be invincible anymore. And then we're going to melee him down with the fighter that we have with the dark weapon that we got many hours ago.
Yes. But we also have to sacrifice some of our characters in order to... Yeah. So Porum's going to be sacrificed to his attack in order to have our characters get the turns to be able to do the DPS to him.
Maybe one of you should actually talk about the actual strategy that's going on here as this fight progresses.
So in general terms, you saw the first thing that Invenerable did was throw a Silk Web at Zeromus. That does stack the maximum amount of slow. It does work on him.
As we see Swimmy going to go mode as well.
And then from here, if Invenerable is deciding to use some sort of hybrid strategy here, what we'll see is we'll have Berserk Kane swinging with that Dragoon Spear that we found earlier, and then we'll have the other mages will be bouncing the highest level spell they have available to them off a walled character to increase the amount of damage that Zeromus is taking as well.
Yeah, there's the Reflected White from Rosa. She has the Star Veil on herself. There's a Fire 3 that was also fired off by Rydia to do that extra damage as well.
Yeah, and then using level 3 spells of Rydia here because Rydia does not have Nuke. Not the worst thing in the world. They do still add damage, but obviously not as fast as a Nuke. They're not taking as much ATB bar to kind of head in your direction either. So a little bit slower, but obviously he didn't think it was a big enough deterrent to level Rydia.
And of course, down goes Porum to that first big bang. It only did about 800 to 900 damage to every party member. The second one might do a little bit more damage, and why is that?
Well, using that Silk Web actually nerfs Zeromus's magic stat for the first Big Bang. Afterwards, you have to kind of time it if you want to do that. And I don't think Invenerable is going to be in the timing mood with this party.
No, I think Rydia is going to be joining Porum on making sure that Flora doesn't get to us too quickly.
But of course, if things go wrong, this race isn't over yet. The Zeromus fight is not free by any stretch of the imagination, as we have Swimmy with the Crystal in Go mode. We have Penguinator with that Adamant, and he just needs to, again, just boil this here Octopus, and then he can head on over to fight Zeromus as well after he forges his Crystal. So it's anybody's run still at this point in time. Things are still a little bit tight here.
So Inven did menu and actually put a bow and arrow on Rydia, which is a little bit interesting. If he has Bacchus wines, he may decide to just have her pop one of those and contribute whatever DPS she can until the next Big Bang takes her down.
It looks like Swimmy will be the second one into the fight, just using the pass right now. As we talked about earlier, having the pass item gives you a way to Zeromus without having to go all the way through the moon.
Yeah, so, and now there's Penguinator finishing off Octomom, so he needs to get out of this cave as fast as he can. It'll take a moment, every second counting here, as Swimmy is, just gonna watch this cutscene and walk on up to the lunar dais here to finish off his seed as well. ScratchDragon, of course, did not yet go to the moon, so he is still lagging a little bit behind. He's the only runner who's, again, skipped Dwarf Castle. It's a play that people make because it's like a single check in the middle of nowhere. And if you feel okay with your party, you may not make that check, so ScratchDragon is doing pretty much everything else at this point.
Right, and because we all saw that the Mist Dragon is there, he does know that it is 2 key items there, but unfortunately did not double back just yet, trying to gamble against it. And yes, as predicted, Rydia is now down on the floor as well, leaving this fight up to Kane, Fusoya, and Rosa for Invenerable.
So this could be a close fight because Swimmy's overall damage output, assuming that he's got the would be using the full capability of his mages, will be quite a bit higher. And we did mention the ability to potentially phase skip. So if we're not berserking Kane and using full reflex strats, there is a possibility that he could catch Invenerable here.
Can we get some applause from that sprite, by the way? I love that sprite. It's really great.
Yeah.
Big shout outs to our wonderful developer / artist, Skawa Kitty, who makes all these, I should say the vast majority of them by hand for our game.
Yep, and of course shout out to Sportface, who's sitting right there in the front row as well, who is the lead developer and does all the programming work for this incredible randomizer. You know, without his hard work, we're not here today, so thanks a lot, Board. All right. Yep, and it looks like what you've said is true here. Kane is being relegated to Chemist here as he's going to throw an Elixir on Rydia. And let the nukes begin. Here we go. We're going to see if Kane with the Dragoon Spear and a little bit of a head start is going to get there. And ooh.
Ball on rocks.
And well, it didn't fall because there's just too much magic defense on this party, so we didn't get to see them.
Invenerable, our first place finisher with a time of 1:38.20. GG to him. And I'm sure he's very happy that he never did Twin Harp.
Aww. Yep, made a couple of really good plays, and he is there. So we've got the first big bang for Swimmy here. Whites and nukes flying, so this should be pretty academic at this point.
Yeah, Swimmy not only has really great kind of damage all around, but also with Rosa, Rydia, and Pelham, the Rydia and Pelham nukes do a lot more than the Fusoya nukes because their magic stat gets naturally much higher when they level up, unlike Fu, who stays pretty stagnant.
Yeah, and since it casts so much faster than Lightning 3, you know, having an underleveled Rydia means that this goes a lot faster. But Invenerable's gamble did not grind because he didn't have Sirens, ends up paying off in the long run here as he is able to take the win today.
Yeah, it just came down to those one or two spots. And, you know, as we said, if Swimmy had gone to Cape Bahamut first, he probably would have won this race. But you cannot fault him at all for the play he made. It was definitely objectively the right idea to head down with the key atom density, and just didn't work out for him.
Yep, fortune certainly favors the bold sometimes, and sometimes fortune favors those who just play the odds. And today I think he needed to be a little bit bold, but he still, again, shows off a perfect reflect kill for a second place finish today. Made up a lot of ground at the end there, 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 4 seconds. So GG Swimmy, very nicely done. And now we've got Penguinator about to do the same, but of course he's got Yang, and he's got Yang and Kane, so he's likely to be going for some true hybrid strats here. Double Berserker and enough levels to cast nukes and whites as he sees fit. So we're going to see some very high DPS here. Interestingly enough, when the refill skip happens, Zeromus loses a little bit of time basically, because the turn is taken up by refilling his health, which means that you can get in with the Silk Web up with the slow on Zeromus. You can get in a lot of damage before Zeromus decides to do anything again. So we're going to see that in action for Penguinator here for certain.
And Invenerable, as you see on the stream, trying to give you guys an encore of the Twin Harp music, something he normally does on his stream. Please be sure to give all of our runners a follow. They're all amazing free enterprise streamers, do a lot of races, generally really nice guys all around, and definitely worth your time and attention.
Yeah, absolutely. So Invenerable will get that queued up, but we're going to probably stick with Penguinator for a little bit because he is about to take down Zeromus here. While, of course, ScratchDragon is still working his way around the world here. I think he should be pretty sure that the only spot he hasn't done is Dwarf Castle here, so he's doing a little bit of shopping and stocking up beforehand.
Yeah, just hasn't been able to, unfortunately, get the agilities right. I don't think for that Wyvern fight yet.
I think he's been searching for Star Veils. I don't think he has any in his inventory. He went there again, looked through his inventory, didn't have anything to throw on to reflect that Mega Nuke, and got taken out again.
Yeah, it's really easy to play this game when you have the trackers and everything in front of you, but in front of a live audience, kind of on your own in that little confessional booth that he's in, not exactly an easy thing to remember where everything is.
Yeah, even the best runners will fall prey to that. I mean, even with trackers, you might just fall prey to that, honestly. It's real easy to forget when you know that there's like a dozen shops in the game and you're looking for one item that shows up in one shop someplace. To remember where that is. A lot of our runners do like notebooks and the like for that particular reason alone. As you see the screen scroll for SwimmyLionni, we see the legendary 17 out of 17 for Swimmy. He found all the things. Kind of our community's version of the 100% run, basically, when you find every single key item out in the world. You know, it feels a little bit tough because that's basically the maximum that you can do, but finding every single key item in an hour 40 is really good. So we're just going to keep an eye on Penguinators. He's gonna bring this one over the line in probably just a moment here.
I think it's this one.
Yeah, I think it is too.
Always a tense moment here when you're fighting Zeramus and you got 3 guys on 1 health.
Yeah.
Trying to get around just to get a little bit more reflect damage off.
There's the reshake, so haven't quite pushed far enough yet. This could get a little bit sketchy. We'll see. You know, bad rolls might be bad here, but we shall see how this plays out.
I think it'll be okay.
All
Yeah,
right.
well, there you go.
And Penguinator still putting together an excellent run here, crossing the line at 1 hour, 43 minutes, and 49 seconds. So GG to Penguinator, got a good third place finish against, run with 4 excellent runners. These are 4 of our top runners from our last summer league. They all finished in the top 12. They've put down performances in our community races that have all been pretty fantastic. Of course, it's nice to see Invenerable, who is not a vanilla speedrunner, who is new to the community. I think this was his first speed game, if my memory serves, coming out and, crushing it today. So that's really awesome.
Yeah, and if you want to join our community, obviously, ff4fe.com. Please go give it a check. Go check it out. We've got a Discord. We've got a place where you can generate seeds there. We've got pretty much everything you need right on that website.
And as one of the donation comments actually mentioned that all of my favorite randomizers are the ones that are easy to get into but have a high level degree of skill required to master them. And FF4FE definitely falls into that category. It's very easy to pick up and play with just a little bit of knowledge, but there's a ton to learn and a ton to do to be able to tackle the most difficult seeds in the most difficult situations.
Yeah, and our newbie guides on the Discord will give you that knowledge. It'll give you what you need to get better at this game. So if you just want to learn it at a fundamentally basic level, or if you want to learn it at a very high level, you can absolutely do that. Of course, Natara, we do have 3 finishers right now. We have ScratchDragon's going to do a little bit of retracing. Anything going over at the host station right now?
Yes, absolutely. We actually have donations just flowing in with the finish. So first off, speaking of 100% run, we have $40 from Profnest saying, here's to at least 2 runners failing to 100% an FE seed in a marathon setting. $10 to each runner's choice. We have $25 from Dilbert719 saying, GG Ven. Referring, of course, to our winner, Invenerable. We have $5 from Anonymous saying, hello from the Japanese restream. Ohayo gozaimasu. Donation to Natara's Choice. We have $100 from Eizen Tayama. And he says, for such an amazing race and a great community, split the donation between all 4 runners for incentive of their choice. We have $20 from Scala Kitty. An amazing race all around. Just what I expect from this amazing community. Thank you to everyone who supports FF4FE, from every last lurker to my fellow devs and workshop helpers who make it all happen. You all mean the world to me and make me so proud every single day. Heart.
Yeah, just taking a look at that tracker down there, we are just shy of $120,000, by the way. While ScratchDragon goes and gets his Darkness Crystal, I'd love to see us break that during the balance of this run. That would be fantastic to see tonight.
And there are just so many more donation incentives that you can donate towards for our upcoming run. The next run we have is Dragon Quest IV, and we do still have a bid war open to name the hero or heroine. So there is an 8-character limit. So if you want to beat the current top name of Hot Dog, you had best get your donation incentive in soon. Also, there's a bid war between the heroine or the hero. Heroine is leading by a substantial margin. And you can also choose things such as the voice language for Octopath Traveler. So lots of different options which are coming up. Please make sure to check on the website and put your donations towards some of those and help us hopefully break the record from previous years.
Sounds like we're getting a encore of the music, Ram's theme from Final Fantasy Tactics on Invenerable screen. As the lunar whale rises up for ScratchDragon. Hopefully we don't see another one of these dives, but obviously you can't fault him if he makes the play. It's the item density is usually what runners will go for here.
Yeah, the ability to grind might not be something to cough at either. It's, again, ScratchDragon spending all of his time on Earth, while, trying to full clear Earth can be a play. It also generally leaves you pretty devoid of levels as well. So his party's only in the lower 30s at the moment, if my memory serves. So he's got a little bit of work to do to get caught up on that front as well.
Definitely. And I mean, like, Scratch took a lot of risks trying to do some of these harder boss spots at lower levels, while some of our other runners kind of ran around finding what they could fight and getting up to that moon quicker for some of those levels.
Right, and to be totally fair, I mean, if the Darkness Crystal had been at the top of the tower as opposed to where it was, that very easily could have been the correct play when all other things considered, but that's just randomizer for you.
Yeah, that's a tough thing. I'm sure that, when he saw Fusoya join his party in Dwarf Castle, he realized that probably everybody was there probably about an hour ago, honestly.
Yeah.
And so we're able to take advantage of Fusoya and his impressive array of spells early on, whereas ScratchDragon full cleared Earth without it. And again, like we said, DPS matters. Got to do that damage.
Right.
White mages don't do damage, sadly. They facilitate damage, so.
What does Porm do, actually, Demi?
She equips a bow. She's fantastic at that. So in the early game, she can actually put out some decent damage with a decent bow. She does learn Berserk, and she does learn Berserk a little bit faster than Rosa, so she does learn a little bit of that mid-game utility a little bit more quickly. She's adorable. That's really important. I mean, you want your party to be as cute as possible. That's super important in Final Fantasy, so, get your Rydias, get your Rosas, get your Porums. Don't worry about anything else. And yeah, I mean, she steals the show a lot of the time.
All right, Scratch actually taking a little drop off the normal path here, going for the top of Moon Boss first. Unfortunately, we know that's not the right play, but I'm sure he'll be thrilled to see Valvalis here with Kain.
Yep, showing a little bit of a willingness to route kind of against the grain a little bit. The thing with Free Enterprise, interestingly enough, is that you can play to the numbers and you can play to those odds, but a lot of the time, sometimes it just takes a really well-timed gamble to pick up a win that, you might not have expected. A lot of runs are sometimes decided by the player who decides to make a bold play that, you might not expect to pay out, but ends up paying out. Much like our runners who went up to ordeals early and decided to stay there through the gauntlet and decided to hang in there, ended up getting their underground access earlier than other runners did. And, plays like that can pay off. And that happens throughout the run, be it finding your parts of Go mode or finding specific characters. So, sometimes in this particular game, fortune does favor the bold, and it favors people who want to kind of think outside of the box a little bit. If you're not going to out-execute somebody, and of course, in terms of like races, you may not necessarily have top flight execution, but you might be close. A little bit of a quick gamble might put you in the driver's seat. So. Seeing those plays could always, is really a big part of, what we do with Free Enterprise here.
I know we touched on it a little bit earlier as well, but I'm still a little bit tickled that we've been sitting on an Excalibur since the very first item of the game and have never never come across a paladin, not one to be found in this entire scene.
Well, we have seen him.
Yeah,
he is at the Sandra spot,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, nobody went to claim him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everybody had their levels pretty much, and so really weren't terribly interested. I don't even know if, I don't remember, of course it was a while ago, if Scratch even checked the character in the first place. Excalibur Cecil's another one of those don't skip power type situations where you can put out a lot of damage in a very small amount of time.
Yeah, Paladin Cecil is a real powerhouse in these flags because we have the AA flag on. Normally the AA flag, normally in vanilla FF4, all of your agility will scale to Cecil as a default option. The AA flag just makes it so that Cecil is not the anchored character for your agility, and that anybody who's in the middle is kind of the basis of all agility in the game. Once you free Cecil from that obligation and you make him fast, he is a murder machine, especially with an Excalibur.
Yeah, I mean, like his swords are just, they outpace everything. His holy swords add strength on top of everything else, on top of his already, absurd strength growth to begin with. So Cecil can just really trash through some bosses, without much regard for what's going on around him. Also gets great health, great armor. Easily one of the most powerful characters in the game if you want to invest a little bit of time in Mount Ordeals and you have the gear for him.
So talk again about this Valva's fight in case you're coming in late to the stream, or it's been a while since we fought this fight. While Valva is in that tornado form, she can, in this spot, she cannot be hit by spells at all. So kind of the strategy that ScratchDragon's using here is to jump with Kane and hope that Fusoya and the other magic characters can actually put out enough damage while Valva's tornado is down. Unfortunately, his characters are kind of squishy still, and as you can see, this is not an easy fight at all with his levels.
Yeah, without the levels, they're also very slow, so Valvalis is getting a lot of actions right now.
Yeah. The tornado adds so much magic defense. I think there's only 5 or 6 boss spots in the entire game where she's actually capable of being hit by spells, something in that range.
Yeah, about that. So while we hope that this grind out succeeds, Natara, do you have anything to add from the host station?
I have so many things to add. Where do I start?
At the beginning, Natara. At the beginning.
That's quitter talk. Quitter talk. So we have $5 from Goulian saying, hey, French viewer here, what an event this is. What an amazing randomized race. I just want to do a shout out to Le French Restream and its team of commentators, moderators that are entertaining us in such an amazing way for an amazing cause. Kudos to y'all. And we also have $20 from Dravenus with no comments. Thank you so much. And $25 from community member Kirchin saying, what an amazing race. Congrats to Invenerable. Put this to winner's choice. And everyone, let's make sure the hype is extra real here for ScratchDragon, who is working so strong, working so hard in order to get this race done. Ooh, and we just got a $1,000 donation. This donation comes from TailsFox88, and it says, did someone say 120,000? Never beaten a Final Fantasy game, so put this to the best RPG, in my opinion, Dragon Quest IV. Love this event and everything you all do. Thank you so much for that donation.
I'm a little stunned to silence about this. 120,000 is quite the number. Marathon's still going on for another day here, so hopefully we can start pushing on to break last year's record as well. So thank you all so much for your generosity.
Yeah, so like I said earlier, thing about free enterprise is if you kind of have a sketchy fight like this, unfortunately, if you happen to lose the fight,
yeah,
you lose a lot of time comparatively speaking to the rest of the runners. And Scratch has been gambling this whole seed. Unfortunately, hasn't really paid off as he would have liked.
Yeah, it's been a very difficult run. Certainly, sometimes aggression will pay you off. You'll find free bosses. You'll get your key items, and sometimes aggression comes back to bite you. And kind of what we're seeing today, which is kind of the nature of the game that we play.
Yeah, it never feels good when you go for that YOLO Grimoire there and you pull Mist Dragon. That's definitely has your heart sinking there.
Yeah, yeah, that is a thing, isn't it? So to talk a little bit about that, Mist Dragon actually is a summon that works off of your current HP total. When your current HP total is like 61, that means it does like 3 damage or whatever it was, right?
Yeah, it was not the always bet on Bahamut strategy that tends to pay off, but it's all the summons are randomly distributed in there, so you have just as much chance of seeing Chocobo as you do a chance of seeing
Fly east. Oh.
Watching everybody here on the couch try and will ScratchDragon on, and the math will not be denied.
Doing our best Carlton Fisk impressions.
Don't bring up sports ball here, Simon. Nobody wants to hear that.
We're nerds.
Sorry,
and we're
sorry.
proud of that fact. No,
Sorry.
but yeah. But again, making the mathematically correct play to probably after seeing Volvalis is probably very done with that fight, and he's gonna go deeper instead.
Yeah, it might be a good time for a grind for sure. Oh, wait, does he have Siren? No,
No,
he does not.
He does not. He does not have the hook. He does not have access to Sirens, and
yeah.
so we know that he is going to have to maybe toggle on some random encounters here, maybe get a little bit caught up on levels potentially.
And in the same situation, Swimmy went into the D-Machine grind, which is on the table, but is kind of slow, so I totally get it. It's not a play. We saw Invenerable kind of walk around for encounters to get some experience.
We do know there is one free fight down here. We do know the Royals are down here somewhere for some free experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're at the Wyvern spot, I believe, which is not the best experience, certainly, but, again, any port in a storm at this point certainly would be the idea.
It would definitely be a best-case scenario for his odds of finishing the seed under estimate. While I'm here, let me give a shout-out to my fellow couch members, Kobahi, Cameron 2, and Zyrak. Please give them all follows. They are also big parts of the free enterprise community, and obviously very happy to have them all here with us.
Building off that, the gentleman who was just speaking, Rivers McCown, be sure to take a look at him as well. He's a fantastic Final Fantasy IV speedrunner, both of the vanilla game and of this randomizer.
So we've got the save. We're not going to Wyvern, doesn't look like. So what are we going to see? We're going to see Bagan?
Yeah, we're going to see Bagan, and we're probably not going to see Bagan for terribly long, honestly. Again, with this low-level party, Bagan is going to, potentially do a lot of work in a very short period of time. Yeah, look at that Kane just taking a hit for 1,000. The front row Fusoya taking a hit for over 1,000. The slow will stem the bleeding a little bit, but Bagan will probably not be denied at this point, which is a little tough to see. Leviathan, Summon, and Quake are both going to come in handy here to do a lot of damage here pretty quickly and try and keep those arms in check, because as long as Bagan is using Recover, Bagan is not attacking your party. Which means with this glut of black mages, as long as they're alive, they might be able to kind of keep this fight on lock. It's a little bit risky because spells have the cast time. Leviathan's not instant. Quake has a cast time as well, so none of these things are happening instantaneously. So it's going to be a matter of making sure that he can keep his party alive while keeping this fight under control. With Fusoya dead, that's one of his Quake casters off the board as well. So Rose is going to go Chemist here and try and keep the team as alive as is possible.
Yeah, this is a really tough spot to have Fusoya in the front row too. I know he's trying to get both Palom and Rydia to get their spells off, but when Fusoya is front row and he has the most HP in the party by far, it kind of makes the squishy almost amplified a little bit.
Yeah, his armor is fantastic against magic damage, but caster armor is not the greatest against getting punched. So you can see that he is still taking some pretty massive hits here right now. Yeah, Rosa, however, is not taking a ton of damage. I believe, she's pretty well armored, compared to everybody else. So, taking advantage of that to keep her alive, to be able to keep everybody else alive. So, should work out pretty well, honestly. May take a little bit of time, though, with these low levels and low spell damage.
Yeah, Bacon's default strategy when you cast magic on him is to counter with the wall. However, because he's been removed from his vanilla spot where Tella is the only character where you have magic when you fight him in the vanilla game, and all of Tella's spells are direct, here we've got Quake, we've got Leviathan, so we can get past that kind of wall, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, and the slow is actually helping out a lot with keeping this fight under control. Fewer actions means that we're going to get more spells off and, just be able to dish out more damage with more spells. So it's kind of a nice positive self-propagating loop of damage here. So it should be a good time here.
Yeah, Mike and his arms are starting to cooperate a little bit by focusing a lot of their damage on that well-armored back road Rozo over the last few rounds as well.
Yeah, Bacon being a bit of a broke here. One other thing to point out is that one of the reasons you would prioritize this spot, especially if you were in ScratchDragon shoes, is that this is the most experience that you can get on the moon. Regularly, this fight would give 100,000 experience between 2D lunars. But obviously, because we have 10 key items already, this will give 200,000 experience, and that will do a whole lot to speeding up the rest of this if he can finish the fight.
Plus 1 for every army kills.
Yes, let's not forget that Bacon arm experience. Friend of the Cataseeds.
I hope I am never in the Cataseed where I need to do that.
Just so we're not talking into the void here. Cataseed is kind of named after a community member, Catastrophic 4. Basically, the hardest set of flags you can create in this game, which in this case takes away a lot of the good experience stuff and makes it much harder to finish the seed.
Yeah, it takes away a lot of your gearing options, your shops, basically everything that our runners have used to get through this seed. Let's just take that away. They're oftentimes uncompletable. And they're that level of challenge.
They're great for suffering, though.
If that's your thing. I mean, they are very, very difficult, though. I mean, they will teach you things about this game that you don't know. We have a lot of community members who really love running these, really difficult seeds. Our most recent event, the World Series of Free Enterprise, the winner of the whole thing, arguably the best Free Enterprise player in the world, Dusty Griff. So shout out to Dusty Griff if he's watching. Plays a ton of these cat seeds.
Nice.
There we go.
So yeah. Very nicely done, keeping his party members up, using quakes and summons to get around it. Even though we know he's not going to get a key item from this spot, it's going to give him the levels he needs to start quickly taking care of some of the rest of these bosses.
Hopefully this doesn't take out somebody.
Ooh.
That hurts a little.
Well, you definitely want Rosa to get the experience more than anybody, so
Yeah,
there is that.
And Rydia is not exactly the worst target for that either. Getting her hit points up, probably closer to 1,000 at this point would be pretty nice.
There's our favorite ninja shirt.
And the much more important white dress here, so I'm going to definitely take that.
The white dress is, not only is it great defensively, but it also boosts spell power for white mages by 15, which is a huge amount in this game because it uses kind of a multiplier system. For lack of a better term, every 4 magic you go up, you gain another multiplier roll. So the way things go is you have kind of a base damage or a base heal, and then it's rolled X amount of times. So 15 is a huge amount. That basically equates to like 3 1/4 extra rolls. So big part of the vanilla speedruns picking up that white robe, and as well in the randomizer, it is great for white mages.
Yep. Also, though, the particular white mage stat also does increase your magic defense as well. So it helps on the Zeromus fight with surviving those big bangs, especially if you're in one of those situations where you're more reliant on, say, the lower health Porum than the higher health Rozos like we are right now. So he's moved over to the Leviathan fight here. No physical damage at all out of this fight. It's all magic damage from Leviathan. Big Wave does 25% of your health, and then you start casting Ice 2 on your party.
He's weak to lightning, so Lid 3 will carp him up a little bit. But it looks like Scratch has decided to give him a little taste of his own medicine using Leviathan on Leviathan. So,
how does that work?
Well, I would just say you're about to find out right about now.
So, where's the second Leviathan come from?
It's a joke! I don't know. Normally in the vanilla speed game you wouldn't get that unless you actually beat Leviathan. Of course, this is a randomizer, so sometimes you just have these little awkward situations where Leviathan is Iridia's best spell, and you're fighting Leviathan, and here we are.
I still think my favorite kind of thing of that situation is going to see Yang in the Sylph Cave with Yang, and going back to Sheila, his wife, and he'll be like, "Oh, he's in the underground, not here." And you're standing right in front of her with Yang.
Well, as the Sylphs try to clarify, that's Canon Yang, not Canon Yang.
Wow.
All right,
There we
so
go.
Sea Serpent on Sea Serpent violence complete. Iridia's Sea Serpent is clearly the stronger of the two. And yeah, there's still a Drain Spear. I got nothing. Obviously, neither did Leviathan, so we're good.
Yeah, that is the proverbial blank in the free enterprise world. That is your single arrow. That is, I don't know, what's the worst thing you can pull out of a chest in Dragon Warrior Randomizer?
I don't know. Everything in Dragon Warrior Randomizer you kind of need. Maybe Wings of the Wyvern if you
Cursed
have Return
Belt?
already. Cursed Belt's worth 180 gold. That's actually kind of important
Yeah,
sometimes.
True. Yeah.
They're just
So to point out why the ultra rare is why Drain Spear is in the ultra rare pool, there are in the vanilla speedrun you can do the dupe glitch, and if you happen to dupe glitch that Drain Spear, that actually was a foundation of the No 64 run for a long time. It does like 4k damage a throw with a leveled edge, and yeah, so that's why it's there. It's not that it's a great weapon; it's just that by gating it a little bit, you make things a little bit easier on some of our flags with glitches on.
all right. So we're back here at the antline fight here down below at the Ogopogo spot. We're going to see Blink going up. I know we saw this a lot. We didn't have a lot of time to talk about it because there's a lot of action going on. But what does the Blink spell do?
So the blink spell makes it so that the character automatically dodges the next 2 hits. Doesn't guarantee you anything after that. You're right back to square one after. But on tough physical bosses like the Sand Lion, like Bagan, like a lot of what we saw early in the game, but unfortunately we didn't have the blink spell at that point. This is kind of a savior and something that really shines in the randomizer, I feel like.
For sure. It's a very powerful effect. It's something in a lot of other RPGs either isn't from a renewable source, like a lot of other RPGs don't give you a renewable source of this effect, or you can't refresh it until it's completely expired, and those are 2 things you don't have to worry about in Final Fantasy IV, which makes it very powerful.
It's also a fairly inexpensive spell as well, so you can cast it many times. And if you have, like in this case, we have Fusoya and Rosa. I know we're using Fusoya for nuke damage here, but if you have double white mages, you can potentially blink an entire party pretty successfully and keep the entire party alive through the fight.
Yeah, it's one good reason to have 2 white mages like Fu and Rosa in your in-game team if you can at all. Sometimes you got a lot more choices than we had in this seed. We had 2 Iridias, unfortunately. But other than that, I mean, if you can have 2 white mages to the end, and one of them is Fu, who has kind of that multi ability to go between black and white, then yeah, it's always really nice to have in a fight like this.
Yeah, a lot of our runners who might, one of the compositions you see a lot of is Rosa plus Fusoya plus 3 fighters. So Fusoya, will apply the support that you need, be it black magic for fights where you need sweepers, and then can shift gear to be your second white mage during the Zeromus fight, potentially. Gives you a ton of flexibility, which is really nice.
So while ScratchDragon's hopefully finishing up this fight, let's start to the host station, Natara, and what's going on, Natara?
Well, we have so many donations flowing in, and some of these are going to wait for Dragon Warrior 4, but in the meantime, we have $100 from Tamra with no comment. Thank you so much for that. We have $7 from Joseph saying, made $14 in tips today, so here's half. Been enjoying the marathon so far. That free enterprise race was crazy. Put this towards Super Mario RPG file name being Waluigi. This needs to happen. We also have $20 from Noni-kun. As a lifelong RPG fanatic who deals with depression and anxiety and is in the midst of a pretty bad bout of it at the moment, in fact, it warms my heart to see the games I love being played to benefit an organization as wonderful as NAMI. Thanks to everyone who makes RPG Limit Break possible.
All right, unfortunately not the key item we want to see, of course, but we are running out of spots for ScratchDragon to head to now. We've got the Wyvern spot, we've got that Balboas that he's already seen, And then we've got Cape Bahamut, which is where we know the value actually is.
It's on your shirt.
It is on my shirt. You cannot see it, but looks like we're picking Wyvern here because we're warping rather than exiting. Warp will only take you back one floor. Exit will take you entirely out of the moon. So looks like Scratch is going to head to the Wyvern spot, which was at least freebie King, Queen, Eblin. So you shouldn't have to do anything there, and he'll get the hook news next. Some runners would probably be tempted to take that hook and run right to the turn-in spot. I don't know if he actually has the rat tower now, does he?
Valvalis is hanging on to it right now.
So thankfully, he probably won't be tempted to do that at least.
I mean, there's no chance in the world that he does that, in fact, because he can't turn in the rat tail without it.
Well, if he bites Valvalis next. Yeah.
This is very true. He could do that, or he could decide that Valvalis is, Valvalis is going to stonewall him even now, so he would want to get his hands on some extra experience from, say, the Cape Bahamut boss spot.
Right. He is hanging on to that pink tail as well, but I would think most runners would at least peek Cape Bahamut and see if it's something that they really need the adamant armor for before making that trip down to Earth specifically for it.
Right, yeah. So this King Queen Eblin fight, the script is very, very, easy in any spot, but especially what you want to see on the moon, as we talked about earlier. Fire 2 does almost no damage. This spot actually, in general, has very low magic damage because Mega Nuke itself is a ridiculously overpowered spell. However, to put it in this spot, the developers kind of nerfed it down a little bit so that the magic power wasn't very high.
Yeah, they nerfed it by nerfing the actual spot itself rather than the spell.
And that's something we could talk about too. Just when we shuffle these bosses, we don't only shuffle the hit points and the experience. We also kind of shuffle kind of the base spots, vanilla stats, to the best that we can.
That does create a lot of really interesting situations, something that I know Demarin mentioned earlier. For instance, at the vanilla Valvalis spot, the second one in the Tower of Zod has an exceptionally large amount of magic attack power, which you would never see in the vanilla game because Valvalis doesn't hit you with any spells that do any damage. So the randomizer, one of the great things about it is you get the...
Get in the whale, get in the whale, get in the whale, get in the whale, get in the whale.
Oh.
So that means we... barring a Valvalis reset here, we are going to get a true 28 of 28 from ScratchDragon.
Right.
Yep. Clearing out every single possible spot that has a potential key item tonight. He will have given us a full tour of this seed in its entirety.
Well, hold on. 27 of 28 if he doesn't turn to the rat tail.
Yeah, true. And he probably won't, because he'll know that he's got every single key item in the game. Might stop by to grab that adamant armor just to make this Romus fight a little bit easier at this point.
Yeah, I couldn't blame him at this point. And I mean, remember, he still doesn't have Siren, so he is still kind of bound by the levels a little bit, right?
All right, so here we go. Take two. Gonna start channeling spells immediately here. Valvalis' magic defense will go up as soon as she transforms, though. So if the timing is not there with the cane jump, then this is, we're going to see these not do terribly much to get started.
Yeah, we're probably going to see both of them miss.
Yeah, because jump has a delay time as well, because Kane's got to get up in the air and take the extra turn to go down. So you can see that white starts to initiate and then fails. Leviathan's going to flicker onto your screen for just a second and then disappear once again. So again, this is kind of the problem with this fight with magical output, is that you got to time everything.
Yeah, he's actually quite lucky that he has Kane at all here, because if not, then this spot would be really rough. You'd be looking at trying to berserk characters that normally don't do very much damage, so you probably wind up with Rosa. Rosa berserking her way to victory. I mean,
potentially even then you might just use aim with Rosa instead, because it gives her 255% hit rate.
Yeah.
So you can surpass the evasion with Rosa's aim command. Not only is she the best white mage, she's also the best archer in the game.
If I could just read out a quick donation.
Please, go ahead.
We do have $5 from Red Silver saying, where did the second Leviathan come from? When a mommy summon and a daddy summon love each other very much, one of the best parts of attending RPGLB has been watching all the randomizer love in the practice room. Not just FF4FE, but also Career Day and even Super Metroid. Thank you so much.
Did you know that Career Day was actually inspired by Free Enterprise?
What?
Am I going to get myself in trouble? Am I in trouble now?
Talk to us after class.
So as you can see, we finally got her spin down. Actually, in the vanilla game, it does kind of hint at you that you have to do this. It does tell you something along the lines of she's in her tornado form, jump, cane, jump, depending on which version you're playing, of course. And yeah, so this is kind of what we need to beat the fight, is just getting everything lined up in the correct order. Unfortunately, this is a very fast boss spot, so I think Scratch kind of thought maybe he had more time than he did, and he didn't have that time.
Yeah, it's a fairly difficult thing again dealing with fast bosses. At least he's now got the levels from down below, so his party is comfortably in the 40s, which for runners is going to be where, if you feel a little bit less confident getting those extra levels, is going to give you the stats that you need to get this taken care of.
It looks like we've got a petrified Fusei over there too, which is not going to help matters at all. Valvalis' Ray attack that she uses only puts a character with kind of one stage of Gradual Petrify. Gradual Petrify works 1, 2, 3, and once you get 3, you actually petrify. Sometimes, if the fight kind of drags on long enough, you will see the Gradual Petrify advance on its own. In this case, Fu was at 2, and then he was at 3.
But more importantly, right now, Valvalis is at 0 hit points, and so she's going to go down and give us the hook here. One more spot to go.
The question is, does Scratch go down and turn in that rat tail before peeking in Cape Bahamas?
I really hope not. I think he could leave a save up here,
yeah,
though.
let's say. Hopefully, at least if he does, he saves comes at you for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, he does a save reset. Essentially, you can save your game and revert. There's 4 save slots in Final Fantasy IV, and you'll notice one of those things is that for all of our top runners, they take advantage of that. They are saving constantly in different save spots. So in case you do need to revert a save, you have that option. But won't need to do that today. Here we go.
One thing that always hurts when you do these really rough seeds is when you're fighting these bosses, your Kainatsos and your Valvaluses, and then, of course, the item that you need is behind something stupidly easy, like, of course, dolls in Cave Bahamut. You're just like, why did I waste all my time on this?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the one thing all 4 of our runners did decide to do today, is they decided to give us the full tour of the lunar subterrane before heading over to see the dancing dolls and take them out in a literal blink usually. So this will be the Legend Sword. We all know that. I think ScratchDragon has kind of the idea that this might be it too.
So I think what we should do is when he does get it, everyone gear your hype up and get ready, because he has earned all of this hype. And also, quick donation. We have $5 from Shittyco saying, to correct the couch, Career Day is actually inspired by Newtopia.
I'm really glad somebody went to finish that joke. That was awesome.
Not gonna say anything. Just gonna watch this fight.
Come on, Rivers. You know what communities are fueled by. That's right, memes and pandering.
Memes? We've got a perfectly good Cave Bahamut meme right here. What more do you want?
Good point.
Memes, we will show you how.
Yeah, and obviously, if you want to become part of this community, please go to ff4fe.com. Discord link is there. Generate seeds from there. Our guides are on there. If you're new, you're brand new, you haven't played FF4 in a while, so...
All right, everybody, get ready. 3, 2, 1. Legend Sword.
There's that moment of agony when you realize.
Oh, man. I've had that moment in races far too often.
So while we're just forging that, I feel like in honor of the next game, I do need to read out this donation. We do have $500 from Tails Fox 88. Now here's the really important part. It seems that some people really want Hot Dog to win the DQ4 heroine name. Let's see just how much they want it. So I believe now Serena is in the lead with 1,500. So if you want Hot Dog in there, better put your dollars forward.
ScratchDragon going to get the hook so that he can get the adamant armor.
Yeah.
Take no chances.
No, I don't blame him. Not an iota of me blames him for this.
Nope. Wait, he opts out. Is he going to go without? Maybe just decide to drop in, say hi to Zeromus? Oh, wait. He does need the crystal, too. Maybe he should stop and get that.
Oh, yeah, there's that thing, isn't there?
I mean, I've never missed getting the crystal. I've never gone up to Zeromus without the crystal. That has never happened to me before. It's never happened to any racer before. In Free Enterprise history, we never make this mistake. I'm so sad right now.
No.
As we explained way earlier, normally this would get you the Excalibur. In the vanilla game, you would go to the Rat Tail Adamant Excalibur chain. But here, we finally got go mode for ScratchDragon.
And for some of the Free Enterprise fans out there who know this particular fact is that what ends up happening is since the crystal and the Excalibur actually get swapped in the pool, the Excalibur is guaranteed in the pool, which means that if this were just not a V1 seed, it would have been an immediate Crystal Jet seed with a Crystal Path start, and the seed would have taken 40 minutes.
But that would have been fun to watch.
Well, no, of course not. Those are, this is what we wanted to see. We saw a fantastic race, and again, we kind of saw some of the ups and the downs of this randomizer for everybody, the highs and the lows, and we're going to see Zeromus go down one more time because here we go. ScratchDragon is getting set up, going to set up a save, and is going to head on in.
There are highs and lows in this randomizer? I don't understand.
I mean, if it's the Dragon Warrior randomizer is definitely more lows than highs. This one is more. This one's also more lows than highs. Crystallis randomizer, Dragon Dark, who's one of our trackers, J Money Moto, the other one. The Crystallis randomizer is another randomizer out there that Dragon Dark ran the vanilla game for. Also mostly lows. The highs are great though. Like the exciting moments when you're running good, it feels really good. Sometimes the luck is not with you, and so that's kind of part of why I know I personally love randomizers is that those moments of executional prowess and those moments of luck, and it all comes together, and that's why people who love randomizers really get into it.
Demi, do you need a hug?
I mean, always.
Just don't want you to talk too much about the lows, okay? We got this.
Hey, I had the highest of highs this week. I beat both Penguinator and Invenerable on site this week. So there's that.
All right, so we're high 50s for everybody except for Rydia. So we're not going to see any nukes out of Rydia. I don't know if Palom has it or not. I can't recall seeing it, so I'm going to guess he doesn't.
I think he's just off the level requirement for that. So
yeah, so we're going to see a fight that's probably fairly similar to Invenerables in both composition and execution here in terms of how he's going to get his damage output going.
Although luckily with this being the actual final boss, these strategies for it are fairly set in stone. So Scratch should know what he's doing and should make pretty good work of this.
Yeah, with 25, 40 HP on Rosa, you're usually pretty safe from any big bangs. Yeah. So worst comes to worst, he can kind of grind it out between Kane and Rosa.
Yeah, I think it was figured out by a couple of community members that the maximum damage that you can get out of the Big Bang is in the 2700s, but you have to have literally no equipment for that to happen, so that shouldn't be a concern. Rosa has a Lunar Staff that gives White Magic stat, which increases the magic defense, the White Dress. I know there's a Protect Ring and a Crystal Ring floating around in the seed, so it's likely that she has one of those too. So it's very unlikely that she is going to die to a single Big Bang.
By the way, shout out to the tech team for gradually bumping that estimate up. I appreciate it. Wow, I can't believe it. This is real close. Do you think he's going to hit estimate?
Unsure. Hope so. All right, so Rydia's already down from catching that counter nuke, because when you cast spells directly on Zeromus, he does decide to counter with nuke. Does that really nice single target damage. So, Rydia takes a nap already. We're gonna throw some, healing potions around here. It looks like we're gonna go for some straight reflected damage here. I don't think Kane is berserked, but I might have missed it.
Yeah,
No.
I don't think he has.
Yeah, Kane has been relegated to Chemist right now, and he's mostly using Rosa and Fusoya to whittle down the boss's HP and not get that refill.
That's right. So actually, we're getting more of a copy of what SwimmyLionni did, where it kind of a straight reflect strat, only without the nukes to make it super easy. So
Yep.
get to see a little bit of a grimier way here with Virus and White and the Fu nukes rather than the high-powered Palom Rydia nukes.
Yeah, and if things do sort of go pear-shaped, you do have the backup plan of just doing Rosa Kane strats, just zerking up Kane with Rosa, and then just keeping the two of them together healed, and they will get through the fight eventually. It does take a little bit of time. It's a fairly safe way to do it.
I think he's trying to nerf this Big Bang. He actually queued up the crystal, I believe.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about timing to stop the full-powered Big Bang. Essentially, you'll get that counter nuke, and then you'll end up taking that reduced damage. The reason he's using the crystal, though, is because, again, Rivers mentioned this a while ago, that if you do direct damage on Zeromus when he's under 16,000 health, he refills his health. Crystal does no damage. It does 0 damage. So you can fire it off a second time and get the effect, which is, again, counter nuke into Big Bang, and you're going to see that the timing on that was stellar. You see that Big Bang did 1,000 to Kane and then 600 across the board otherwise, and that was excellent.
Yeah, very skillful, worthy of applause for sure.
Yeah, a lot of very good runners in this game do not go for Big Bang nerfs, because if you foul it up, and the timing is, again, fairly tight, if Zeromus takes another tick of time, or another turn goes off, it could reset Zeromus's magic power to that full power. So you've taken a nuke and a full power Big Bang, which is not a good time. So that was, again, really well done.
So right now you see Zeromus's Black Hole. Once Black Hole goes off, the star veils that we've used to kind of put up this wall and reflect everything all up go away. So that's why ScratchDragon is able to use that time to toss a Cure Forth Rosa, get everybody up to full health, and then resume the onslaught of spells, for lack of a better term. Looks like he's going to try to nuke this one as well.
Yeah, we used to think that the Black Hole actually stripped above the debuffs like slow you put on Zeromus as well, and it turned out a little while ago we determined that that's actually not the case, that it only affects your party. So it's another one of those games where there's this new stuff being found all the time. Certainly nobody on this couch has ever found a glitch on Zeromus before.
Nope.
Never.
Yeah,
No,
one of my favorite things about randomizers is that when you kind of give all this this knowledge to people, some of them will start digging even further than we've already had, and even with putting an FF4 randomizer out, the vanilla game has really been impacted by kind of the findings, and kind of what we used to think has been challenged a little bit, and it's been great for the overall advancement of speed tech.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic, honestly. Everybody just really just you have a community of over 2,000 people sort of digging into a game, and the things that get found are pretty impressive. You'll see that ScratchDragon decided to delay there, since White has a cast delay, and he knew that the Black Hole is coming after the Big Bang. He decided to not start channeling that White with Rosa, because if the Black Hole goes off and wipes out the wall while a spell is being channeled, it doesn't redirect or retarget. You could microwave your own party members, which is not a good time.
Yeah, definitely. Finishing off at the time of 2:31:27. ScratchDragon got value in Cape Bahamut, of course.
Sorry, everyone. I am just going to have to interrupt with an important announcement. We are actually going to be taking the website down for donations for the next 5 minutes. So no donations are going to go through during that time while we do an important upgrade. Please be patient with us during this time, but we should have the site back up very shortly.
Excellent. So, yeah, thank you for your patience with that. We're going to take a little bit of time here to get set up for our next run, Dragon Quest IV Chapters of the Chosen with Clear Tonic. On behalf of Rouge, McCown, Kabahi, and Zyrak, of course, I'm Demerin. Thank you all for coming out tonight, and have a wonderful evening, and keep on watching the last day of the marathon. Thank you so much.
Since this run is done, we're going to move this over to a Twitch ad, as we are currently being sponsored by them. So thank you so much for coming out for Free Enterprise. We really appreciated you having here. I've been your host, Natara, and we'll see you on the other side.
Of course, right? Oh, okay, so the ad's over. Hi there, everyone. I'm Itzkasa. I'll be taking over for Natara for Clear Tonic's Dragon Quest IV race, or sorry, not race, run. The site is still down currently at the moment, but we'll let you know immediately when it comes back up. In the meantime, let's talk about why we're here. There we go. RPG Limit Break 2019 is coming to you from Salt Lake City, Utah. We are raising money for NAMI, which is the National Alliance on Mental Illness, which was formed in 1979 as grassroots advocacy organization by a group of parents, whose children suffered with serious mental illnesses, and NAMI has maintained this focus to that day. They can't hear me, can they? They can't hear me. What's that? All right. Okay, we're good now. It just stopped. That was weird. Oh, because I was like, they can't hear me, can they? And then the chat started saying that. That was my test. Let me know when Bowie's ready. All right, we're just going to throw it over to Bowie the Hero, who's going to talk to you about some of our prizes here. Take it away, Bowie.
Hi there, welcome back to RPG Bowie Break. Once again, I'm here to talk to you lovely folks and viewers at home. We're going to have a little chat about some prizes that are available to win as we go towards the end of our, or at least the tail end of our week-long marathon here. Coming up next, we are going to be having Clear Tonic running Dragon Quest IV, Chapters of the Chosen. With that going in, we do have a copy of Dragon Quest IV, Chapters of the Chosen for the Nintendo DS, available to be won during this run. If you do donate a minimum of $5 during the run, you get a chance to win a copy of this game. Sticking to the Dragon Quest theme, we also have Dragon Quest VII, Fragments of the Forgotten Past. It's a very, very long subtitle, as Dragon Quest is wont to do. And again, available for Nintendo 3DS. Again, that is also $5 donation. Both of these were donated by the lovely Team Murdoch. So if you want to get a chance of winning one of those, you can. As well as that, we do have Dragon Quest VI, an original JP copy of the SNES version, which we don't have to show here, but again, for our $5 donation, you have a chance of winning that. And that was lovingly donated by Jono as well. So thank you very much to everyone who donated those. Looking forward a bit, my wonderful pal here, Mr. Mega Man, this wonderful kind of pixelated Mega Man painting is available as well to be won as we approach the end here. For, I believe, a $20 donation, you can get in the running to win that as well. It's pretty sweet. It would look great as any kind of part of a video game collection or decoration. So there's those things. Looking forward, however, we do have a little bit more of a modern kind of prize for you. These wonderful chainmail banners, these are going to be a little bit hard to see, but these are available during the Octopath Traveler run that's going to be happening tomorrow morning. So if you want a chance to win these are basically 4 of the banners using the design of the characters' story banners that are done as we progress in the story. So there's just a few of these. There's 4 of these in total, again, using the colors and the designs of their story. So if you want to get a chance of winning those, I'm not quite sure how much they are. I'm going to have a little look on the thing here. I believe they're a $5 donation as well, but I'll get that confirmed for you as soon as possible. But if you want a chance of winning those, they're available up until the end of Octopath Traveler. The Dragon Quest stuff is available to be won during the Dragon Quest IV Chapters of the Chosen run, done by Tonic, who's just setting up right now, and we'll get word as soon as they're available to start. So, if you're liking the look of these prizes, make sure to get your donations in now. As I said, all the Dragon Quest stuff is during the upcoming run that is absolutely next by Clear Tonic. You've got a little bit more time for the Mega Man 8-bit painting as well, and of course, Octopath Traveler banners, the chainmail banners, I should say, are available until the end of Octopath Traveler, which will probably be starting around 6-7 in the morning. So if you're looking forward to that run, make sure to catch it. If any of these wonderful prizes here excite you, make sure to get those donations in if you want a chance of winning. With that, I hope you enjoy the upcoming run. Tonic's a great guy, great runner. You're going to have a great time, so I'll throw it back to Caster, who's currently hosting. So guys, it's over to you.
Thank you, Bowie. We're just taking a time here. It looks like things are still setting up, but we'll let you know as soon as everything is good on here. While we wait for the donation page to come back up, let's talk about one of our sponsors. RPG Limit Break is proud to once again partner with the Yeti to bring you 8 amazing t-shirts and a hoodie now available plus pins. Head over to theyeti.com/RPG. Take a look at the designs, pick up the ones you want, and know that at $4 from every t-shirt purchase, we'll be donating to Nami. Remember, Yeti is spelled Y-E-T-E. Theyeti.com/RPG Limit Break. Alrighty, it looks like the donation page is back up and running, and I have a huge amount of donations here. We have a $50 donation from Hot Dog Fan 86. We have a $10 donation from June that says Hot God. We have a $5 donation from Hot Dog Fan DQ. The rumor come out. Does hot dog is sandwich? We have a anonymous $20 donation that says Hot Dog Best Meat. Another anonymous $25 donation that says hashtag Hot Dog Nation. A $5 donation from HDoC2 2019. I can't read apparently today. Is a hot dog a sandwich? Another donation, a $100 donation from Hot Dog Fan 47 that says, "Hey, I like hot dogs." We have a lot of these. You don't understand. There's a good list here. We have a $100 anonymous donation that says, Hot Dog Nation Unite. Hot Dog Fan 44 donates $10 and says, Hot dog fact, a Chicago-style hot dog never includes ketchup. We have a $25 donation from Anonymous that says, ouch, these dogs are hot fire. I see you all laughing over there, but there's still more. We have a $5 donation from Hot Dog Fan 91 that just says hot dog. Respectable. An anonymous $60 donation with no comment, but thank you very much. Let's see here. We have a $100 donation from Madoka Mahora that says, good luck, CT. Hot dogs will save the world. Right. Another $1 donation from HDoC 2019. I did the name right this time. One more dog for good measure. We have a donation from Hot Dog Server Error. I'm assuming that goes to the website server error from before. $10. And a $100 anonymous donation that says Hot Dog Nation Ascend. We have a $10 donation from S Royale with no comment. Thank you very much for your donation. We have a $25 donation from Banana Dog Nation that says Hot Dog Nation. Oh my god, there's so many. Are you? Oh no. You're still. We have a $75 donation that says extra ketchup, no bun, 89. Oh, sorry, that's the name. That's not a comment. Try again. We have Oh My Hot Dog with a $5 donation as well. We have a $25 donation from Captain Impossible, just donating to keep the bid war going. We have a $50 donation from Hot Dog Fan 1122. A $100 donation from Hot Dog Fan 88226. Hot Dog Fact 8. Hot dogs are one of NASA's approved foods. We have a $5 donation from Hot Dog Fan 91. Hot Dog Nation Ascend. We're getting more of those. We're apparently sending today. We have an anonymous $100 donation that says Hot Dog Nation Rise, so we're ascending and rising. We have a $5 donation from Gomes Ortega Lewis. Hot Dogs for Tonic 70. A $150 anonymous donation that says Hot OGD. They tried to say Hot God. Didn't work out too well. 28 anonymous donation that says For the Hot Dog Nation. And a $25 donation from McElroy Tucker Yards that says Uh-oh, hot dog. Give me a moment as I refresh everything, because I think we have some more coming. right, let's try this again. We have a $5 donation from Gagalo Geese. This is from the last run. I'm assuming it just wasn't able to get there because of what happened earlier. That says, Scratch. Thanks to all who makes this event possible. I love you all. Honk. We have a $250 donation from Thorkos that says, I've been watching Goodwill in chat. Hearing it from the commentators, here's $250 to start something that I should have started by the several hundreds of us 45 minutes ago. Let's get this train going. Our goodwill to him, our goodwill to money, and this fantastic event. Let's get it going. $2 now, chat. Come at me. And show the bravery of Scratch who didn't scratch. All this money to ScratchDragon's choice. That was a big one. It's not a joke. Oh, it's a joke. Okay. So it's true? Okay. Alright. I have a $5 donation from I Love Hot Dogs that just says, I love hot dogs. Sweet and to the point. $10 donation from Veggie Dog Fan 47 that says, Veggie Dog Fact. Comiskey Park, home of the Chicago White Sox, began selling vegetarian hot dogs on June 19th, 2000. Interesting. We have a $10 donation that from Hot Dog Consort that says, Hot Dogs of the Chosen. We have a $25 donation from Hot Dogu, a $33.33 donation from Hot Dog Fan 28, a $250 donation from Hot Dog Fan 4, Hot Dog Fact 26. Americans eat over 20 billion hot dogs per year, about 70 per person. We have a $100 donation from Hot Dog Fan 764 that says, Hot Dog Nation rise up. A $50 donation from Hot Dog Fan 650. A $100 donation from Hot Dog Fan 37. Oh, so many hot dog fans out there. And with that,